NBR, nothing but rants, show where I find topics that I'm rather passionate about and I pontificate upon them. These are not hot takes, but rather takes that I am hot about.
Nothing but rants.
Hot takes.
3-point stance, we advance. Ball in my hands, I don't take no chance. Touchdown dance, that's my jam. No hot takes, this is nothing but rants. Nothing but rants. Nothing but rants. Nothing but rants. You know Brooks finna cook, let him rant. Try to do it like us, but you can't. Stay the young, going dumb with the chance. Big plays lead to even bigger bands. What's up? What's the word? What's the play? What we talking about? On the scene with the team, yeah, we popping out. NBR, let's get it, let's go. Film guy, get on ready for the show. What it is, what it ain't, what's happening? We gon' hit you with the stats and the facts, man. NBR, let's get it, let's go. Film guy, get on ready for the show. 3-point stance, we advance. Ball in my hands, I don't take no chance. Touchdown dance, that's my jam. No hot takes, this is nothing but rants. Nothing but rants. Nothing but rants. Nothing but rants. Hey, shout it end zone dancing. We about to start it up, it's the anthem. That right, big rings got me handsome. Hold 'em up like we came for the ransom. I'm in the field, 2-minute drill. Highlight reel, let's review, what's the deal, okay? Watching footage going out of control. Buckle up, we got an hour to go, so let's go, that's straight heat. Ain't no chillin' around here, back that back, Nat Chance, how we feelin' around here? Got my whole squad in the building around here. If my name ain't on it, then I really don't care, come on. 3-point stance, we advance. Ball in my hands, I don't take no chance. Touchdown dance, that's my jam. No hot takes, this is nothing but rants. Nothing but rants. Nothing but rants. Nothing but rants. Hey. Yeah.
Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, to NBR, or as we like to call it around here, Nothing But Rants, the show where I find topics that I'm oddly passionate about and I pontificate upon them. These are not hot takes, but rather takes that I'm hot about. What's up? You really like that?
Let's shut up and grind some tape.
We're on, but we're frozen. It's a great way to start a live show. Did you hit that magical cable? Is that what happened?
Must have.
Just stay away. Stay away from that magical cable.
We're back.
And stay away from the Kansas
Listen,
Love.
when the size 14 wearing guy in the studio is asked to stay away from the cable right at his feet, it can be a little challenging, all right?
Guy blamed the inability to do his job on his foot size. Shit I ain't never seen before. Welcome in. Last show, best show. That's right. It's a Tuesday night. We work a lot on this show, but you guys work plenty, putting in the hours on this network, in the live chats, in the comments. You guys are grinding. You guys are grinding this year. So this Thanksgiving, as it arrives, we are giving you, the audience, 2 days off. So congratulations, you guys in the audience. Y'all have 2 days off from the Film Guy Network. All that leaves from us this week for you guys, unfortunately, is 5 hours of live streams and 2 additional hours of film study. That's all they get this week, Kirb.
Not good enough.
Just a bum. Absolutely a bum. That's it. That's all you get. Very thankful as Thanksgiving approaches for this network, man. I built this studio with the help of these guys in April of 2023 with some really big dreams, and I feel as if we are on our way to those massive dreams as we head towards another milestone. We're going to have 40,000 subscribers here shortly, and that'll be awesome. Do me a favor, while you're watching with your family or while you're hanging out and mingling and eating some good food with your family this holiday season, go ahead and sell them on the Film Guy. All right, go ahead and sell them on the Film Guy. Spread the good word, for there is a ball nowhere. send them our way, if you will. Welcome in. We got a loaded show for you guys tonight. Obviously, we are lingering, waiting around for the college football playoff rankings to be released. There's about 5 minutes left in this college hoops game that nobody cares about, except for you, Jay Will. Sorry.
Always care.
Yep. Shout out to the hoops. Ain't us. It's Jay Will, but nonetheless, we're going to give you some ranking reactions on those as soon as they drop. We'll release those as soon as they come out and giving those to you guys in the audience. We're going to talk about our preview and predictions. It is Tuesday's show, and normally we do predictions on this day, but we're going to slam on top of predictions unless it doesn't happen, and we're going to slam on top of predictions Tuesday theoreticals, which is basically, unless it doesn't happen, which normally happens on Thursdays.
I thought it was Wednesday.
It's What If Wednesday, but it's a Tuesday, not a Wednesday. So we're going with theoretical Tuesdays. What do you keep making faces about over there?
I'm doing weather reports for this, and it's going to be cold on Friday.
Yes.
How cold?
Might get down to single digits.
This Friday for the
Single
Georgia
digits?
Tech game. Into the single digits is what you're telling me?
High of 12 degrees.
Oh, shit.
Low of -3.
Hey,
Wait,
it don't get cold in Georgia, though. You sure you're not reading Celsius right now?
I
Put
got
that bitch in Fahrenheit.
Dude,
Ain't no way.
I'm looking right now. It says 33 is a low.
It is. It's
All right.
Celsius.
I was about to say, whoa. It
I
don't
knew
get
it was going to be
down
cold,
here, though.
but not that cold.
It don't get cold down here. I know we're going to talk about the rankings here in a second, but this is a little bit relative to the rankings, boys. One of my favorite narratives about all these, going to get to host a home playoff game is this idea that it's like people think the Southeastern Conference is below the equator.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, man, you don't know what it's going to be like playing in 30-degree weather.
They just
What are you talking about?
Oh, you mean you don't know what it's going to be like when your offense is already one-dimensional and you can't really throw the ball? That's
you're talking about Penn
crazy.
States of the world, yeah.
I'm just talking about in snowstorms, you're typically not as apropos to throw the football. So that would typically favor the SEC schools that are known for their hard-nosed play. And
You would think so. The cold, I don't think bothers football players. What does is the snow. You give me 3 inches of snow, and ain't nobody going to be good out there.
yeah.
No, I mean,
You
you
know?
put like a West Coast offense out there, like a high fly.
Yeah, like an air raid.
Yeah.
You take Mike Leach's Texas Tech teams from 2005 and throw them in Penn State in November or December. They might have some problems.
They will absolutely struggle, but a Georgia or a Tennessee, I don't think you're going to have as many issues as you would believe.
All right, so there's 3.5 minutes left in this Memphis, Michigan State basketball game, and there's some questions to be answered with this upcoming college football playoff rankings. This is the second to last one. This is
so
next
there's
week's the
this-
last one, right?
Yeah.
Next week and then
Next
the
Sunday.
official one.
No, Sunday's selection show.
No, there's
Not this
there's-
Sunday, but next Sunday.
There will be one
Yeah.
this
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Tuesday.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
we got 3 left. We got this one and 2 more.
Yeah.
Correct.
All right. So, what have you learned, or what are your initial thoughts about this college football playoff committee's processes so far this year? I know first off the bat, they care about wins and losses. That's what I know. That's what I expect to see today as well. You lost, you're tumbling. You won, you're up.
Yeah, kind of a very cut and dry committee. There's not a whole, or at least it doesn't seem like there's a whole lot of diving into the metrics of, all right, this is the strength of schedule. This is the caliber of opponent they played. They played this game on the road. This is going to affect them differently than maybe a team that lost at home against this opponent. It's wow. Fumbled right there. That's
Bro,
unfortunate.
That's the first time I've hit in like 5 days.
Do it again then.
Doubles in.
A double?
Go 12 milli.
Oh, we're on a heater.
Ooh. Okay.
This man's going to be
See, that was-
buzzing by the time we get.
No, I'm going to be spitting is what I'm going to be doing.
Yeah, so I don't think there's really any deep dives from this committee. It's just plain and simple to them. If you lose, you drop. If you win,
Jonathan, they're watching the tape, man.
Cap.
yeah.
They're
no.
shutting up. They're grinding the tape. That's what they're doing. That's what they said.
The tape
That's
that
what
they-
our man Kingpin told
I
us. We're out here
guarantee
grinding tape.
The tape that they watch is they go on YouTube and they search up so-and-so game highlights.
Oh,
and that's what they watch.
Man, they're big Boise State fans then, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. It would be interesting to see what they do with Boise State this week, Curb. They've been sleepwalking through their, what are they, Mountain West? Their Mountain West schedule.
It
They've been
hasn't looked
sleepwalking.
good, but at the same point, like, someone has to go from the group of 5, and there's really not a team that's separating, especially with Army getting shellacked by Notre Dame this past weekend. Like, who would be the group of 5 team if Boise State doesn't go? I mean, Boise State can kind of limp through the rest of their regular season schedule and still have still probably be a playoff team just because of that. So that's the benefit of being one of these group of 5 teams when there's so much separation.
And I think it is worth pointing out too about Boise State. Like, it's great that they have Ashton Jeanty and that he stayed there and that he is a Heisman finalist, and it makes them feel like they're somewhat worthy of being in the playoff this year because of him. But I don't know how many Ashton Jeantys there are, because he could have gone anywhere. I mean, he could have entered the portal. Some team would have picked him up because he put up great numbers last year as well.
1,600
and he
total
said
yards
that
offense last year.
He wanted to stay at Boise State. I don't know how many people in his situation are riding it out at Boise State.
My man Ricky out there at
Ricky White?
Yeah, Ricky White at UNLV. Those were 2 football players that could have chased $1 million in the portal easily.
Yeah, and I mean, John Mateer is a good quarterback for Washington State, which isn't classified as one of these Power 4 conferences anymore. But, I mean, there's already people mentioning of where he might go when he enters the portal, and he's still on the roster.
Where are you taking the wagon?
I've heard some interesting things.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Auburn?
No, but you're in the right area. I'll give you that one.
Mississippi State?
No, I might have to talk to you about this one later.
Oh, this is under the radar.
Yeah, I
You
might
got
have
sources?
to. I might have to flow this one out there to you.
These sources vetted?
I suppose.
I'm intrigued.
Depends on what your liking is.
Consider me intrigued.
Okay.
What's up?
I think the committee has a new problem on their hands. This entire time it's been, my God, there's so many teams that it seems like they could be a playoff team. It seems like we had 14 or 15. Now it's, are there enough playoff teams? Like, we were doing it on the board earlier. It doesn't seem like you can find.
It's a good transition from you, Curb. It's almost like you do this for a living, buddy. We tried to do it before the show. And honestly, top 8, nice and easy. I think they solidify themselves nice and clearly, okay? Oregon at 1, Ohio State at 2, Texas at 3, Penn State at 4, Notre Dame at 5. I would argue that no one's going to disagree with that top 5 if it comes out tonight. There's not going to be anyone on the panel bitching, moaning, complaining about those 5. I think right here, 6 down to 12, guys, is where we really start to open the conversation of, hey, is this team more worthy of the other team, right? You're talking about Miami, Georgia, Tennessee, and especially a line right here after Tennessee when you're looking at schools like SMU, Indiana, and, of course, Boise State and Clemson now back in the mix as well. Here's how we settled with our OLI. We got Arizona State, Bama, Ole Miss, and USC Junior on the outside looking in, boys. What are our thoughts? I think this is pretty easy. Like I said, down to about 6. Yeah. Where do you want to say, hey, is Georgia more highly rated right now than a Miami? But so far, the committee has told us wins and losses.
Well, I think we also have to remember that this is just the top 12 rankings. This won't be the seedings. Like, Georgia's at 7 right now. They're going to be a 2 or 3 seed by the time the actual committee gives your playoff rankings. It goes the same for Boise State. Like, there's a chance they have the 4 spot because the Big 12 doesn't really have anyone right now. So,
and I think sorting out
there isn't a Big 12 team in the top 12,
exactly.
is there?
So there's going to be a Big 12 team at the 12 spot, and Boise State will get the 4th seed. So, I mean, that I think is the top 12.
It'll be interesting to see how they do that because they're going to have to come out with a projected winner of a bunch of teams that have 2 losses in the Big 12 tonight. Maybe the playoff committee won't have to. They'll just establish their rankings. But ESPN's going to have to tell us basically who slides into that 12 spot because it's not determined, right? There's still 3 or 4 teams with an opportunity to win the Big 12 right about now.
Yeah, I mean, my gut would say
Don't they have a 3 or 4-way tie for first right now in the Big 12?
Every single Big 12 game, with the exception of the Utah game this week, has
matters.
Conference championship implications.
A lot of football to be played out there in the Big 12, as you'd expect. How much time we got left on that round ball game up there?
Waiting for that to be revealed.
Oh,
Looks
yeah.
like they're in the final minutes. So
Love that. Oh, so that's going to take another 10. Make sure you're hitting that thumbs up button, like, subscribe, and rate and review.
A little over 2
as
minutes.
Well. Guys, Clemson, we're going to talk about this in a little bit when we find out where they're ranked. Teams like Clemson, Tennessee, SMU, they found new life this week with a bunch of chaotic losses in the SEC.
And I think Clemson, for me, like when I was doing my top 12, like when I got to 11 and 12, that's when I really found out that we are running out of teams. Because I put Clemson at 12, but I don't really feel great about putting Clemson at 12. It kind of feels like I have to put you at 12 because I don't have any other team that can logically go there.
It's a good point. It's what I opened with yesterday about, hey, maybe the outrage wasn't necessarily needed. Maybe these, teams were going to figure themselves out. At least the SEC was going to eat itself.
Yeah.
So we figured that out.
Yes, it did seem that way, but there will be years when it doesn't figure itself out. Up until last year,
we were 2 weeks away from it not figuring itself out this year.
Exactly, but like my point is, like up until last year, like it had always seemed to figure itself out. We always had to oh, the Pac-12 team collapses. We have, other group of 5 schools bowing out. The SEC usually has a clear-cut winner from that. So the reality is that last year was the one instance where every Power 5 champion had some of a case to be in the playoff, and it didn't sort itself out. So, I mean, yes, it's kind of worked out in our favor this year. It's not always going to be that way. You're not always going to have Alabama, Ole Miss, and Texas A&M all losing in the same week.
The chat picked up on my ploy right there. Now that club is a tax write-off. This guy gets it. Well, how far do you think Indiana drops tonight?
I think they dropped to like 10 maybe.
I think we had him at 9.
I wouldn't be surprised if Indiana still has a home playoff game.
Getting a home playoff game, so
Like
in that
7.
top 7.
Like 7.
I would be
8
shocked
maybe.
by that based on how they've dropped other teams
Yeah,
after
that's
losing
true,
like
but
that.
I mean, like,
Yeah.
you went from being undefeated to having 1 loss, but all the other 2-loss teams that were supposedly better than you on the neutral
Sure.
site field lost. So I mean, there's not really 2-loss teams that are quality anymore, with the exception of Georgia and Tennessee.
So the 3 teams that I'm looking at tonight as the potential maybe 2-loss or 3-loss teams to maybe make their way in would be Tennessee. See how far they climb up. They were 11 last week. You would imagine they bump up 3 or 4 spots due to the losses in front of them. Clemson at 17. Do they have a chance in this mix as well? And then South Carolina. Basically, seeing where the committee puts Clemson and South Carolina this week will let us know what they think of the winner next week. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I mean, that's going to be a top 15 matchup regardless, you'd have to imagine. So, which is insane to think about. Oh, he's quitting.
No, I'm cutting it in half. That was a lot.
But the thing, too, is, like, for South Carolina, based on how the committee has done these rankings, you would imagine they're still going to be behind Ole Miss and Alabama because Ole Miss and Alabama have the head-to-head. They have the same amount of losses as well. So you would imagine that they're going to be somewhere behind Ole Miss and Alabama, at least in my opinion, based on what the rankings have been.
Who's playing better football right now?
Well, that's another totally different conversation that doesn't
Isn't
seem
it,
like
though?
the committee is having.
I don't know if they are. That's the thing. They talk out of both sides of their mouth. They talk about, wins as of late or losses as of late, and then they completely ignore what happened to Notre Dame in September. Or they talk about this and they completely ignore that. It's part of the reason why I have been the last person to stand on the table and be like, you know what? The BCS might have had it right. But at least at least that's nobody's name. At least that's just an analytical data point that I can't argue with. I'm like, okay, it's that. But when they come out here and give us cockamamie excuse after cockamamie excuse that doesn't line up with the previous cockamamie excuse, I just get mad. That's what I get.
I think that why don't we have a BCS type system that shows you, okay, these are where the 12 teams are ranked, and then you have committee members with some esteem go in and then say, all right, we think this is right, this is wrong, this is this. Like having a panel of 12 people just go and pick the top teams every week based on the games that they may or may not have watched. I don't know. I think we got so sick and fed up of the computer system of the BCS that we said, okay, having a committee of all humans that actually watch the football games is going to be best. And now you're going a little too far back.
I don't know if I got mad about the BCS system. I think I got mad about thinking the third best team might have been the best team. Mm-hmm. That's what I got mad about. And I don't think I'm ever going to think the 14th best team's good enough to win a national title.
No.
I don't know if I'll ever reach that point in this sport. However, we have gotten to a point of parity in this sport that is unprecedented. We've never gotten to this point where it's like, wow, there are 20 teams with, north of $10 million budgets to go out and buy good players, and they're absolutely pillaging the mid-majors. Guys, we go through for our segments every single week and look at every game that's on the slate, and we talk about them, and we go through. I can't tell you how many teams I see on that week-to-week slate at this point in the season that are 2-9. Or 1-10, or whatever it is. They're just terrible, terrible football teams. There's this large group of teams that are fighting to get to 9-3, and there's this large group of teams that are fighting to stay above 3-9. And there's not a lot of in between. And what that is going to create a lot of parity at the top. But if you're one of these bottom schools, man, I don't know if you're ever going to have a chance.
No, probably not.
Probably not.
Not
But
how things are set up.
But I mean, like, has it ever been supposed to be that way?
Like
the
No, I mean, I like it more now. I like the idea that there are more opportunities for at least, like used to, it was these 10 teams. And whatever, if they can pile up their year together, if they can recruit the right guys, if they get the right quarterback, these 10 teams got a chance. Now it's like these 25 teams got a chance, and I think I enjoy that.
Yeah, I mean, the haves and the have-nots have always been a thing in college football. It's not like, we like to entertain the idea of, any given Saturday and it could be anyone's year. But the reality is that you enter the season with about 15 to 20 teams that might have a shot, and typically the national champion or the playoff contender is from those 15 or 20 teams.
Yeah, and Hunter Lacey comments, I think what a lot of people are thinking, maybe this isn't actual parity, maybe this is just a weird year. I'm of the belief that this is what football is going to look like on the college level moving forward until there's some type of regulation on roster turnover, okay? We're about to go, we're 2 weeks away? Not even that. We're a week and a half away from the portal opening. We got top 12 programs that are expecting anywhere north of 30 people to leave off their roster. We have roster resettlement coming our way with 105 scholarship limits and maybe removing walk-ons in some of these conferences. Like, we're going to a world of complete change around college football that I think is going to lead to a continuance of this parity in the sport.
Yeah, I mean, the trends certainly state that it's probably not going to be. It's just a weird year. Now, there's some degree it is true. This is just a weird year. Vanderbilt's really good for some reason. South Carolina's having an up year, but they've done things for talent acquisition. But the teams that have been traditionally down are having some weird surging years.
Yeah.
But I think that you're probably going to see a little bit of regression to the norm next year, but there's still going to be lots of parity.
To be honest with you, this Vanderbilt performance, I know people crack on Vanderbilt all the time, but it's not historically out of context for what they do. Every 5 or 6 years, they put together one of these. That's what they do. Derek Mason had one of these seasons before they fired him. Like they come out and they put a roster together every once in a while that is relatively competitive in this conference. As does, by the way, Mississippi State. Mississippi State's on one of these absolute down the hill performances, but I think that whole, they got beat by Vandy. Well, every once in a while, teams in this conference get beat by Vandy.
Right.
They're pretty good, especially when they get a good quarterback. Is this one going to be as simple as we think it is?
For the rankings, you mean?
Yeah.
I don't think it'll be.
You don't think it'll be?
I would not be surprised if we're sitting here in 10, 15 minutes whenever these rankings are done and we're saying, how did they mess this up? Or what do they see
Just
here?
no trust.
I mean, every single week so far, there's been at least one major talking point of what the heck happened here. Like, what is your reasoning behind this? What that will be, I have no idea. I would imagine that if I had to guess right now, I think the major talking point is going to be how the teams from 13 to 16 stack out. I think there's going to be something there that's going to really irritate a fan base or irritate a specific crowd of people. They're like, what is going on here? What's the logic here?
As we have people loading in here, obviously the algorithm is dumping us upon you, looking for college football playoff rankings reactions. This Michigan State Memphis game is 69-63 with 24 seconds and a running clock. So as it just stopped. We're about to get into the rankings as they come out here in just a second. But I want to take a quick moment to ask you to go ahead and subscribe if you are new to our network. This is the Film Guy Network. We talk a lot of football Monday through Thursday, live from 8 o'clock to 10 o'clock. Also, what we specialize around here is breaking down the film. I am the film guy. That's what we do around here. We had 2 film studies come out today, over an hour worth of real good football knowledge to go pay attention to and listen to in that. Also want to take the moment to give a quick shout out to our friends over at BetUS. If you're looking for a new book this season, BetUS is indeed the answer. Head over to BetUS tonight using the link in the description of this video. Use promo code YouTube150. You'll get 150% deposit match up to $2,000 on your first deposit and 125% deposit match up to $2,000 on your next 2 deposits, okay? BetUS, promo code YouTube150. Tremendous time to be over there. What are you most looking forward to in these college football playoff rankings coming up just now?
I really want to see what they do with Indiana because that's the one wild
It's the
card,
biggest question.
Because, I mean, yes, they lost. Yes, they got manhandled by Ohio State. But the problem is all the teams behind them lost too.
Yeah, the tumble from grace would feel a lot more justified if those other teams handled their business, but they didn't.
I mean, we were even talking off the field like, did Indiana lose enough to be a playoff team? Well, the other teams lost enough for them to be a playoff team at this point. Like, the entire thing was If Indiana gets their asses kicked against Ohio State, there's no reason they should be in the playoff. They've played a very poor schedule thus far. The one good team they face with a pulse, they get demolished by. There's no reason why you would think they're one of the 12 best teams. Then you look up and Ole Miss, Texas A&M, Alabama all have 3 losses now. It's like, who else are you going to put in there? So, I wouldn't be surprised if Indiana only drops like a spot or 2.
Oh, I think they'll drop more than a spot or 2.
Yeah, the real question is, do they fall behind Tennessee?
Yeah. That's another interesting talking point too of like, is Tennessee going to be now put into a spot where they could host a first round game? That would be huge for Tennessee if you got to, because all you got to do is beat Vandy.
Yeah, I mean,
you're locked into that spot at that point because you don't have to play in the conference championship weekend. And now you went from on the outside looking in a week ago to now, hey, we get to host a first-round playoff game. I mean, that's a massive change. One of these teams that has gotten majorly affected, or what we think will be highly affected by these the losses this past weekend.
All right, we have a super chub coming in from JB. It's very local related, so I think I'm going to hold that until the local hour. I love the question, though, and we're going to hit on it anyways with our film notes that we got on Georgia Tech. So appreciate you, JB. I do see the super chat, or as we call it around here, the super chub. Just want to hold that and keep it in the chamber for a little bit later. Interested, as we said, to see how far Indiana falls, but how far Alabama falls as well. That was the worst loss of the weekend, right?
Yeah.
I know Indiana got handled, but Alabama got handled by a really wins and loss bad football team in Oklahoma.
Mm-hmm. Very. I mean, and for everything that we've kind of built this offense up to be, like we said, like 4 weeks into the season, like this offense might be unstoppable. Like if you're going to beat them, it's because the defense trips up. They didn't score a touchdown on Saturday, so.
Well, they did. It was just called off the board.
Statistically, they did. Okay, they scored 10 points on Saturday.
They scored a touchdown.
They scored 10 points on Saturday.
Yeah.
Not much better.
It's
no,
not
doesn't
a whole
sound
lot
much better.
No,
it doesn't.
Oklahoma's defense had more touchdowns than Alabama's offense.
Whew.
So
bad day.
And if you want to count the Ryan Williams, Oklahoma's defense had as many touchdowns.
All right, here we go. They are officially out of the basketball game, and they are on to the College Football Playoff Rankings show. Again, want to ask you to go ahead and hit that thumbs up button and subscribe if you are not already. 12-team playoff seems kind of simple at this point. Everybody understands it. Highest ranked group of 5 team will be awarded a playoff spot. 4 conference champions will be awarded a top 4 spot unless the non-Power 5 is ranked higher than one of them. Top 2 seeds, 5, 6, and 7 all get a top 3 seeds, I should say, after the first 4 get an at-large bid, therefore get a home game in the first round. First 4 seeds get a bye week in the first round. That's what they got going on right now on the board. That's what they're talking about. The 3 big teams, as we mentioned, going into this one, where's Indiana, where's Bama, where's Tennessee? They're obviously talking about that now. How much weight does that football game next week between South Carolina and Clemson hold in these college football playoff discussions?
It holds more weight for Clemson than South Carolina, I think.
I agree.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they want to set the precedence of a 3-loss non-conference title playing football team getting into the playoff yet.
No, not yet.
I think we're a little bit removed from that
And
discussion.
God forbid should either Georgia or Texas A&M play in that game and one of them lose and they're kept out because of that. You're going to make a horrible mess if you do that. I mean, like, South Carolina is playing great football. I don't think anyone in the nation would want to play South Carolina right now, but the reality is that you lost too many games at this point in the year. It's not how you play in October. It's not how you play in November. What you do in September and early October matters as well. So,
is Oregon the unquestionable best team in college football?
Yeah, there's no reason to say they're not.
Record-wise, sure.
That's not what I asked you.
Then no.
Who is?
I don't know. That's what I would tell you right now. I don't know.
I don't think there's an unquestionable. I think if you said who is the number 1 team right now, who's the best team in college football, you'd be the hardest pressed to find an argument against Oregon.
Neutral field, I think Ohio State gets them today.
Yeah, I would pick Ohio State over them in a conference championship game.
Which is what we're going to get in a couple of weeks.
Yep.
All right, I think we're about to get some type of rankings unless they're continuing to talk. I'm glad they are because we got folks coming in here in droves. So we appreciate you guys for making us your place tonight for your rankings reactions and responses from today's news.
Here's a question.
What's up?
Can Oregon lose out and it doesn't matter?
Ooh, great question.
Who do they have this week?
I think
they have Washington this week. So it's not a great game.
No. Even though FPI says Washington's like the 6th best team in the Big Ten.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
But I mean, you lose to you are the number 1 team far and away. Like they're going to be number 1 tonight, whether we think they're the best team in college football or not.
Oh yeah.
you lose to Washington. Are you really falling? Are you tumbling out of the top 12? And then you lose to Ohio State. Like, they're trying to set the precedent that maybe you're not getting punished for playing in the conference championship game.
Well,
and,
maybe
and,
they
you know
would,
you lose the rematch against a team you did beat. So I don't know. It's a good, interesting question.
that would all depend on, of course, how other conferences fare out of conference championship weekend and whatnot as well, in my opinion.
Oh, they're doing the explainers some more.
All right, another question. Does the SEC have an elite team? That's what I keep hearing. SEC's got some really good teams, but no elite football team.
They have elite football teams. The problem is they just have too many inconsistent teams.
You can say no to that question, but you can't tell me in good faith that if your team got matched up against Georgia or Texas right now that you would feel really good about that game.
Yeah, no, you
What
wouldn't.
what does it mean by elite? Like
Unless
supreme?
you're in Ohio State. I think Ohio State thinks they can beat anybody in the
Sure.
country. They've got enough talent to do so.
And I think Texas and Georgia fans would say they feel like they could beat anybody in the country.
Big facts.
What do you define as elite?
Oh, I think I define it as has a chance to win a title, and I think
absolutely.
there are two SEC teams that have a chance to win a title, and I can see it happen.
There's three, honestly.
Who's the third?
Tennessee.
You think so? I think Tennessee, and that's why I grouped them last night. I think Tennessee's in a group of, okay, you still got to prove something to me for me to believe that you went on to win a title, as Colorado comes in at number 25, dropped 9 spots. But to continue the conversation, I think Tennessee's missing something from making them a winnable football team in the college football playoff, and that's the deep shots and the explosive nature of their offense. Kansas State comes in at 24 and doesn't move. Illinois at number 23, up 2 spots from a week ago.
Kansas State wasn't ranked last week.
Oh, my bad. It says not ranked instead of my brain says not moved for some reason. K-State in at 24, Illinois in at number 23. I'm sure they're having some good discussion here. UNLV getting in at number 22 at 9-2. Outside looking in for UNLV, maybe in the group of 5 if they get some losses in front of them.
Yeah, it is like one of those sneaky sleeper teams. Oh, my God, dude.
Missouri in at 21.
Get them out of here.
Out of here. Bowl-bound shirts.
Because you ran up the score against a
shitty Mississippi State team. Number 20, Texas A&M down 5 spots after their loss from a week ago.
First answer.
Yeah. All right, so Texas A&M I think was at 15. They were. They went down to 20 after their road loss to Auburn. I was honestly impressed they even crawled back into that football game considering how bad the defense opened up. BYU down 5 spots to 19.
States, you're dropping 5 if you lose your third game.
Yep.
That's just or you lose the game this week. That's what just data trends are saying right now. I mean, BYU still got a shot, so
I guess they got to go win the Big 12. Iowa State coming in at 18, up 4 spots.
I mean, that's essentially the only.
Who was their incredibly decisive win this weekend? Who'd they beat?
Oh, I mean,
Couldn't even tell you.
It was some Big 12 team. Tulane up to 17.
Iowa State got a convincing 31-28 win over Utah.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. Utah's 4th string quarterback,
Real
by the way.
resume booster.
There you go.
Hell yeah, Kenny Dillingham. Talk to me at 16, up 5 spots after you choke slammed them BYU Cougars at home. Come on now. Go on win the Big 12, Kenny. Go on let them know about the Short King.
Now you're about to get your run of 3-loss SEC teams.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would imagine.
Yep.
And there's South Carolina in at number 15.
So they're still ranked behind Bama. So
yeah.
You're not going to the playoffs.
So they respect the head-to-head there, I guess?
I mean, they've indicated that they respect head-to-heads. I would imagine you
For
see
them
Bama.
and Ole Miss.
I'd imagine you see Ole Miss or
Alabama and
Bama
Ole
here
Miss.
at 14.
I felt like Ole Miss's loss was better than Oklahoma or Alabama's this week.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, Florida's a good football team.
It was, but Ole Miss has more bad losses than Alabama.
And there's Ole Miss in at 14.
So, I mean, Bama will drop 5 spots as well.
Bama dropped 5 spots as well in at 13, we would imagine right here.
Yeah.
Interesting. No real talking points just yet, I don't think.
Nope. It's kind of playing out how we expected.
Where's Clemson?
They're going to be 12, I bet.
They'll be 12, yeah.
With a loss, a very, very convincing loss to Georgia, and they lost to
Louisville.
Louisville
They got handled by
at home.
Louisville
Yeah,
at
they
home.
got handled twice in 2 losses. It's a bad Louisville team, too.
There's Bama.
Bama in at number 13. So all 3-loss SEC football teams at 13, 14, and 15, most likely needing a lot of help. Not most likely. They will need a lot of help to get into the college football playoff in front of them.
Will they? I mean, at that rate, shit. Let's let Clemson lose.
They're telling you there's a way for them to get right back into it.
They're only 2-3 spots away. So,
You thinking? Oh man, we're gonna find out. You thinking SM? Like, what happens if SMU loses in the when SMU loses in the ACC championship game?
they're gonna.
Alabama's in. Golly.
Well, you have to remember, like, Arizona State is not up there yet. Like, the Big 12 winner is not up there yet.
Yeah, there's Clemson in at number 12.
So this is the ranking so far. They haven't made brackets. Like, you'd have to
Correct.
imagine Arizona State's going to be somewhere in this bracket.
above these SEC teams and above Clemson right now because you got to get the non-group of 5 in there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so Clemson's in it right now,
Yeah.
in quotations.
That's got to be the most painful ranking. Being ranked 12 right now,
Yeah.
ugh, make me vomit.
There's going to be so
Yeah,
many
but
people on
you're
the
right.
actual selection day where they see them at 12 and are like, oh my gosh, you made it. It's like, psych, you didn't actually make it. We're bumping you
Well,
out.
yeah, you're playing a top 15 team this week, so
You got a chance.
you have a very good chance of making it in.
Super Chub right here from Alex Bowers that's applicable to the discussion. Brooks, do you think they get rid of the auto bids at some point if the
Yes.
Big 12 and ACC keep producing bad teams? Yes. And Boise State in at number 11, move up a spot.
After a disgust.
Take that first round bye, baby.
Yeah, man.
After-
They beat Wyoming by 7 at home.
I mean, this was the critique that we had with the Group of 5 Invitational. Like, no one really thinks Boise State is one of the best teams, but I mean, they're going to get a first round bye because of that.
Mm. Hey, they played Oregon close back in September.
Awesome.
Saving grace right now.
Awesome.
That is saving grace.
It is.
They got blown out by Oregon. I don't know if this is a discussion,
Kentucky
but it
played-
has to be. They're the highest ranked group of
Has to
5.
be.
We have this charity contest going on. And I hate to say it that way, but I think it is. I don't
It
think
is.
anybody in their right mind thinks Boise State's going to go win 4 games and win a national title, but we have to just let them in. So that's cool.
Indiana's 10.
Indiana dropped 5 spots down to number 10, which is where we had them, correct?
Yep.
Are we about to go bar for bar?
We just might.
I might have to give my man Kingpin a little
The 5
a little
spots,
credit.
though, Kirby, that is on point right now. They dropped
Yeah.
5 spots after their loss as well.
SMU up 4 spots to number 9 at 10-1.
Now, notice how they're not giving you the bracket yet.
Correct.
They're giving you the whole rankings, and then they're going to go through the bracket. So.
Well, the playoff committee doesn't have to do a bracket right now, and I don't think they ever will.
No, they won't. But ESPN traditionally has given you the bracket when they
Correct.
get to the 12 spots.
Correct. And ESPN goes about making it with projections, who they think is going to win the football game.
Right. It's just based on who's got the highest ranking right now.
Correct. Well, and they assume who's going to win the conferences, Kirby.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's who the highest ranking is.
Yeah. I see what you're saying. Tennessee in at number 8,
would
firmly
host.
entrenched inside the college football playoff
Tennessee's
for the
hosting.
Vols.
They would host SMU in the first round.
Oh, they would beat that ass.
SMU walking into Neyland Stadium. Oh, my. Ooh.
A quarterback would, ooh,
You imagine Georgia's here at 7.
yeah,
More
I
than
would
likely.
think so. Surely they didn't jump Miami this week.
Nah.
Hey, Miami moved up on a bye week.
Ole Miss moved up 3 spots on a bye week.
Yep.
Georgia in at number 7. So there you have it. Georgia would get a home playoff game against Indiana.
Yeah.
Correct.
Dub.
Bring it on.
Man,
It's either going to be Penn State here.
is there any way to just stay in that spot?
Man, I don't know.
No.
Any way at all?
No, because you're either going to get the
What if
fourth-
like an overtime loss in the conference
The
championship
SEC
game?
may not have seen snow games. Come find some humidity in December, baby. You ain't seen nothing like that.
Come have to mess around, drink some Pedialyte in the middle of December. Come on down.
Bring the mustard packets. You gonna need them.
Bring some
Miami at
pickle
6.
juice. Miami in at 6. Hey, go ahead and release those boys. while
yeah,
they're
they've
out.
been out.
Oh,
They've been out.
yeah.
Come on, man.
Yeah.
We know what we're doing.
Train them right. Train them right. Do you think people know that about this network when they come in here that we're writers as well as people who just talk on a microphone for a living?
I think the people that know we're writers don't know we have a YouTube, and the people that know we have a YouTube don't
think
know
you're
we're
right.
writers.
I think you're
I
right.
think we have 2 separate fan bases.
Yep. Because I've even had people pop up in our Discord chat and be like, "Wait a minute, you write for SI?" I'm like, yeah, I do. So still Miami in at 6. We haven't gotten number 5. We'll get it here in
It'll be
just a
Penn
second.
State.
Notre Dame.
Oh,
Notre Dame.
Forgot about the Cowboys.
So they are going to go bar for bar with us tonight.
Yeah.
Man, maybe the committee knows ball. Will we make it easy on them?
Yeah, I mean, who thought chaos is what they needed? Lord.
Just take away the decisions from them.
So then you'll
Let it play out on the field.
But again, this isn't what the bracket's going to look like.
No. But for the most part, it is.
Well, no, because Ohio State's about to be in the top 3. They're not going to be
Yeah,
there.
you're right.
Like, especially in
Penn
this
State.
scenario, like, where
Yeah.
the heck do Ohio State and Penn State go,
Yeah, you've got-
assuming Oregon wins? They're outside of the top 4.
You've got 3 Big Ten teams.
Where the
in
heck do
top
they
4
go?
right now?
This will be interesting when they play the bracket or when they show the bracket. So let's see what it actually looks like here. All right. So they give us this mythical bracket now. I'm not smart enough to do this in my head.
No, I'm not even going to try.
So Boise would go into the 4 spot.
Correct.
Arizona State into the 12. Texas is presumed the SEC champion in at 2. And Oregon, the presumed Big Ten champ, in at 1. We know the Big Ten champion is going to be number 1 overall. We can already guarantee that.
Yes.
And we know the loser of that game is going to be 5. Right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, there it is. Ohio State in at 5.
Georgia's 8?
Georgia is 8. They put
Interesting.
Penn State at 6. Notre Dame at 7.
Huh.
Who's
So-
that put at 6? Oh, Penn State. I'm an idiot.
Georgia, Tennessee in a rematch.
Love that. In Athens.
Indiana and Penn State. I mean, what a boring first round.
Yeah, no way. There's going to be some
That-
posturing.
That
Yeah.
won't be.
There's gonna be some finagling after the SEC championship games
Well, remember,
to avoid
yeah, I mean,
these
there's still
conference
2 games
realignments.
left to play. Like, these aren't going to be.
That is a horrible first round scenario.
I don't know, man. Notre Dame, SMU gonna pull numbers
Dude.
on the Peacock.
Yeah, I feel like there'll be some finagling.
All right, so there it was. Do we see anything that makes us raise an eyebrow, boys? I think it was pretty cut and dry.
Yeah,
like I
honestly,
thought it was gonna
no.
be.
I don't think that there is like some major talking point right now based on how the top 25 itself landed this
I don't
week.
know. I'm sure Booger's got a hot take coming out right now.
This is the first week, I would say, where I wasn't like, what the hell is a committee doing? You see the vision right now.
I'm just surprised they didn't, at least for our sake, avoid those conference rematches. I guarantee they do next week, or after the SEC or after the championship weekends.
Well, I mean, the reality is like that projection just goes based on rankings.
Yeah.
Texas A&M can beat Texas this week and throw that whole thing into disarray, and then Texas A&M can beat Georgia in the SEC championship, and all of a sudden they're the 4 spot, so like or
Yeah.
the 12 spot. So I mean that the bracket is just showing you where they would hypothetically be right now based on these rankings. This bracket's not going to be the same. Tennessee and Georgia are not going to play in round 1.
Yeah, we got to talk about this automatic bid stuff. I mean, the fact that Boise's going to be a 4 seed is insane to me. They're gonna get to walk through the Mountain West Conference, winning conference games by an average of like 7 points
Part of me
in the Mountain West, and get a bye.
Part of me does think though that like say Arizona State wins out, they do win the Big 12. Part of me feels like they would be in the top 4.
You would think.
Would they?
That's how I feel.
Who's Boise going to play in their conference championship?
I have
Exactly.
no idea. Let's
Not
take a
anymore.
This is-
gander
this is
right
weird to
now.
me. I'm all for fairness, and I'm all for everybody getting a seat at the table, but they shouldn't get a primary seat at the damn table. More super chubs coming in that are.
But I mean, this is also like, I'm not as mad at the group of 5.
They play
about this.
UNLV right now.
Okay.
That's a quality opponent according to rankings. This is less of a group of 5 issue, as more of it is a Big 12 issue.
You think?
Like the Big 12 is so bad that it's allowed a group of 5 conference, which we all kind of agree is not on par with the other 4, to overpass them simply because the Big 12 has been playing so bad this year. Like the Big 12 is just a group of 5 conference that has a Power 4 shield over them right now. There's no Oklahoma in there. There's no Texas. Like Oklahoma State, like the powerhouses of that conference are no longer there.
I don't know. I saw a Big 12 fan saying, funny how a team that averaged 5 wins over the last decade in the Big 12 is now sitting at the top of the SEC.
Who set what for
Talking
what?
about Texas, dude.
Yeah, talking about Texas.
That's a little misleading.
It is. Oh,
because they only
Very
played 8
misleading.
conference games. All right, so it sounds
And
like
they were
Texas has only been winning
bad.
5 games a year the last several years.
And
but,
they were bad for a while.
yeah.
They were a bad football team.
If you had Sark Texas's over the last 10 years, they devour the Big 12.
And the counterpoint to that entire argument is, and the team that was winning the Big 12 is now sitting towards the bottom of the SEC.
Bang.
Precisely.
Dude just hammered it home on them.
And never once beat the SEC in a postseason game. So.
Boys, we're 42 minutes into the live national hour, and we have predictions to get into, and lots of them. So let's go ahead and rattle them off. Let's start in the Egg Bowl. Mississippi State at Ole Miss. We're transitioning, folks. Okay, if you have found us due to the algorithm tonight, hang out with us. We're about to blow your mind with some great college football content. I wonder if Lane's football team's got life right about now.
That's the
my
question. Here's the
whole
one.
question.
Here's the one thing. Here's the one player I know will have life. Jackson Dart. Jackson Dart is probably very, very upset about the way. And Jackson Dart
finna play hella hospital ball.
Yeah.
In this football game.
Jackson Dart hates Mississippi State, I think. So
This is going to be a classic crash out game
for
for
sure.
Jackson Dart.
He's either going to play amazing and have 456 yards and 5 touchdowns, or it's going to be like, oh, that was bad.
Oh, they had to cart Jackson Dart off today.
Jackson Cart. So I'm
Nice.
I'm gonna say Ole Miss probably rolls in this game because of that. I don't think
Yeah.
Mississippi State has the horses really. And yes, while you're at the point in the season where we all said, if once this roster gets eliminated from playoff contention, they'll probably give up. It's also the last game of the season at this point. Go out swinging, go out fighting, and a guy like Jackson Dart is going to play hard.
I think the most interesting discussion point going into this football game will be the injury report.
Yes.
And not because Lane's been playing around with shit all year long. I'm wondering if draftable names are going to come up with some hamstring tightness this week. I'm wondering if Walter Nolan's going to be like, you know what? My left pinky's been bothering me all year long. I think I might, hit that injury report. Princely Umar Milan crashed out at the end of that football game.
Maybe like
against Florida.
Just third downs today, Coach.
Yeah, let's get the sack reel up. Let's not have to worry about early rundowns, Coach. I just wonder. I think
it's a
think
talking point.
The 26-point favorite is way too much for me.
Oh, I agree
Way
with
too
that.
much for me. Ole Miss favored by almost what's that? 5 touchdowns? 4 touchdowns? That's way too much.
Just a little bit under 4.
Yeah, I got there eventually.
There you
go. I think Lane's play calling gets them up early, and then I think you see Ole Miss kind of just unplug, and then Mississippi State start to walk it back.
Really?
Yeah, give me a 34-21 football game.
I have Ole Miss winning this game 56-20. We've seen all year that Ole Miss finds, you're a team that's a little bit worse than us. We're going to hang 60 on your head today. It's the Egg Bowl. These teams don't like each other. Now, I understand that the roster is a lot of mercenaries that probably don't understand that. Jackson Dart isn't one of these. Lane Kiffin isn't one of these. He's going to try to get shots up on this Mississippi State team, especially with the season that they've had. One of the best ways that you can not mitigate the losses you've had, but kind of reconcile, is beating the shit out of Mississippi State in a rivalry game.
You think he'd do that to his buddy?
Come on.
This game has not been that type of blowout since 2018 when Mississippi State beat the crap out of
Ole
them.
Miss hasn't put up 40 points in this game in years, have they?
They haven't put up 41 since 2012.
Yeah. That was Zach Arnett. This is a very different defense for Mississippi State this year. They've been pretty Swiss cheese for the most part.
Right.
I think this game's really close. I think it's a one-score game. I have Ole Miss winning 27-20.
Yeah, if it's a one-score game, give me Mississippi State. I do not trust Ole Miss to fight for 4. I don't. Not right now. Do you? Is Ole Miss going to get in a fist fight for 4 quarters?
Here's
the rest
the thing.
Of the year?
If it's a fist fight, no, but I don't think it's ever going to be.
If play it out like this, like if they get punched in the mouth first, then yeah, I think it's done. Like if Mississippi State jumps out like 14-0, I could very easily see Ole Miss being like, okay, well, whatever. Like our season was cooked before this anyways. But I think that my scenario is more so like they're up 2 scores. Mississippi State feels like they still have a chance late in the game. They put another touchdown on. But I do think it's a close game.
I got about 13. Ole Miss wins 34-21, as I told you. Let's move on to the Iron Bowl. Guys, we've seen Alabama's defense get schemed up pretty hard this season, haven't we?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think Hugh Freeze going to have a couple things for him on Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
I think he is. I trust Hugh to have a good game plan for a defense that is obviously schemable. But I also and I don't know if I should, but I trust Jalen Milroe to return to superhuman form over the next 2 football games at some point.
I thought to myself, this feels very much like a return to normal form game. Auburn had a really incredible performance against Texas A&M last week. Alabama had a really, really, really bad performance against Oklahoma. We both know that that's not the two teams that these are. Now, we know that Alabama has a propensity, especially with Joe Milroe at the helm, to be bad on offense, be shaky at times. I don't see them getting held to 3 points or 10 if you want to count that touchdown. But I think Alabama kind of handles this game as well. It's going to be in Bryant-Denny, so.
I love how the chat went from making you a lazy bum to a ladies' man in one night. I love that.
Maybe that's why he's a lazy bum. Focus on the ladies.
This guy gives great points on this network.
Just saying.
That's a great point.
I think this is another close football game. And I just always hope this one is close, because when the Iron Bowl delivers a close one, I mean, it's always an instant classic.
Oh, yeah, Jordan Hare.
What
was the last classic that's been in Bryant-Denny? Cam Newton?
Cam back was probably one of them.
Was the one?
Or did Nick Marshall get him?
Was the game where
that was Prairie Jordan Hare, or that was kick six?
Was the game where the interception behind the back happened and took it for a pick six? Was that not at Alabama?
That was at
Jordan Hare.
That was also in Auburn, because that was Bo Nix's freshman year.
I really do think the last squeaker we've had in this football stadium in this game was Cam Newton. Nobody else has gotten within 15 points of him since they've been on the road out there.
Nobody else, or just Auburn?
No, I'm talking about Auburn. No other Auburn football team has gotten close to them in Bryant-Denny since that Cam Newton football game.
Certainly haven't won in Bryant-Denny. Wait. No, 2017 was in Auburn.
What you got on that?
The last close game in Tuscaloosa was 2010.
Cam Newton.
Cam back.
Guy knows ball. This Bama coaching staff can't afford a loss in this football game, right?
No, they cannot. And
they ain't going to fire this guy if he loses on Saturday. However, some of them boosters might be not picking up phone calls when you call for money the next time, and that is as good as being fired.
Legend might pass out on Paul Feinbaum.
Oh, he will. I've been waiting for Legend to just croak in the middle of those. It's so high energy. I mean, you can't go that long for 3.5 minutes.
There's some shortness of breath.
Yeah.
But again, I do think this is a close game. Regardless of what the history says, I think it's a close one. I think Alabama wins, though, 34-28.
I got it 28-17 Alabama.
I got Alabama 41-21.
Oh, they roll, huh?
I think the Tide roll.
Okay.
All right, let's move on. The game, as they call it. Doesn't feel like the game this year, does it?
No, unfortunately not.
I was talking to Jay Will pre-show. I was like, Ohio State is going to exercise so many demons in this game.
Ryan Day says it's the worst thing that's ever happened to him in his life.
He put it right up there with his father dying.
Yeah. Pops died. Michigan beat my ass. Right there.
Sir.
Yeah.
That's crazy. But
whoa.
He had a very tough life if Jim Harbaugh beating you down is the worst thing that's ever happened to you. Even though I would imagine it probably caused some chaos in his life over the last 3 years.
It's also 3 years of it. Like, it's not just one.
I'm with you. I expect an absolute bloodbath. I expect Ryan Day to get 3 years, as you said, of title-crushing losses worth of revenge. This Ohio State front, man, they're the wrong one to think you can just run to a win against, especially on the road. Ohio State will get up early, and they will do everything in their power to absolutely embarrass Michigan. Now, what I want you to do is pull out your Men in Black flasher and just erase that tape, because I got a better one coming in like 10 minutes.
Hey, I got Ohio State 31-10.
I got them 41-13. I think they do everything in their power to try to score 50 points on this team. They are going to try their best.
The interesting thing, though, and one of the reasons why I think they might not pour it on too much is because you do have a conference championship game coming up. So I think that they're absolutely going to beat them, and I think they're going to beat them well. But I think that they might see in the second half, hey, let's pull some of our guys
You've already seen that Oregon football team. You've already put it on tape. Whatever you're going to put offensively on tape has been put on tape.
I'm not talking about putting anything on tape. I'm just talking about keeping your guys fresh.
Injury.
And I think that's even more disrespectful to say we can put in our twos and still beat the crap out of you.
Here's Julian saying for 150.
Woo. Don't matter what the score says. You start putting in the depth pieces.
I might become a Ryan Day fan. Honestly.
I've kind of silently become one just because of how much hate he gets.
Yeah. And, anybody that's got to use performance enhancers on their hairline or any type of hair or facial hair, I support your cause, So I'm with you.
It affects 60% of males by age 30.
We just turned 30. Are we in the clear?
Dude, I'm not even 30 yet. It's already hitting me. So.
I think we might be in the clear. I don't know. Every time I see it on camera, I'm like, it's coming. It's coming. No third child. We might be okay.
Good Lord.
South Carolina at Clemson, big time football game this weekend.
Palmetto Bowl, baby.
Is that what they call that?
Yeah.
Underrated.
Oh, I think it's a good.
This is an underrated rivalry.
It's become underrated because Clemson has handled this rivalry. Absolutely handled this rivalry.
For 8 or 9 years.
Yeah, but they've handled it. Like it has been.
Yes.
It has been Clemson's game for a very long time. Really, up until South Carolina pulled off the upset with Spencer Rattler a couple of years ago, and now it's become really interesting again. And I think that is because the playing field has been leveled between these two teams a good bit. So I expect another really close one because South Carolina certainly believes they're fighting for a playoff spot. Clemson, you certainly are fighting for a playoff spot based on the rankings. So people are saying this is a pseudo playoff game.
You know, Clemson's been really, really banged up as of late, and they continue to be banged up going into this football game. I checked the injury report for tonight's show. I think they have 15 guys listed on the injury report. Half of those listed out, half of them listed as questionable. I think Clemson's only path to victory in this football game is via a defensive struggle. If this game goes into the 30s, I don't think Clemson has enough firepower offensively against South Carolina's defense to come out on top. Like I said, I don't see a world where, and maybe it happens, but I would be shocked if there is a score that comes out where Clemson's got north of 30 points in this football game. If they win it, it's a 24-17 affair. However, I'm riding the hot hand. Give me South Carolina. Give me South Kakalaka with a bunch of dynamite. Give it to me.
I got South Carolina winning 27-24. I think it's going to be a close one. I think it's going to be somewhat of a defensive battle.
I got it 30-17.
I don't think trendy underdogs, and I don't know if South Carolina is going to be an underdog in this game, but trendy teams usually,
they are 2.5 points.
Trendy underdogs usually don't fare well, especially on the road. And Clemson is a team that, for all the flaws that they have offensively, for as much as they've gotten manhandled by superior teams, South Carolina feels way too obvious here, and they are too inconsistent on offense for me to say that, yeah, they're going to win this game. We all know that they have a really good defense, but I think Clemson manages to pull out a close one here. I got them 23-20.
Already gave yours?
Yeah, I already gave mine.
All right, on to Oklahoma at LSU. I think I can keep this one short and simple. Yuck.
Yeah, yuck.
Yuck.
Very much so.
You're playing with house money if you're Brett Venables, and
Brett.
This is a career-defining game.
Clench your
for you.
butt cheeks, Brian Kelly.
Did you see the drive logs last week for LSU?
No.
They had 8 total possessions in that football game against Vandy.
Whew.
They had 3 possessions in the second half.
Vandy sat on it.
They did. They absolutely sat on it. And doesn't make – if you're Blake Baker, you got night sweats watching that Oklahoma-Alabama film.
Oh, yeah.
Watching that quarterback run all over Alabama, knowing your history with stopping quarterback run. However, just had a good week against the option for the most part, okay? Not too many explosives allowed in the run game for LSU last week against Vandy. I think LSU wins this football game 27-17.
I have Oklahoma winning. I think Oklahoma wins 28-20.
Brent getting on a heater.
28-20 Oklahoma.
I love that for Brent.
Yeah, I think that Oklahoma 1 is obviously riding a very big high right now. That's probably going to play a factor into this. I have LSU eking out a close win here. I have them 30-21. I think they're just more talented on the offensive side of the football. I know how they just boxed Alabama, which is way more talented than LSU's offense, but it just feels like a game where LSU is going to be able to lean on them a little bit more.
You tell me if you feel good about Garrett Nussmeier. Great throw, really bad throw type of guy playing against this type of Oklahoma defense.
I don't.
I think it's a bad matchup.
I don't. I don't think there's a way Garrett Nussmeier gets out of this football game without throwing an interception.
Yeah, I agree with you.
I don't think there's a way. Just like you said, too much. Wow, great throw. Wow, what are you doing? What are you doing?
Did you
right
see
now?
the 4 defenders right there?
Are you trying to lose? Did the third-string quarterback from Vanderbilt get to you? What has happened?
The Mafia.
The Mafia. That's what I'm going to call the Mafia from now on. The third-string quarterback from Vanderbilt.
I like it.
Should we get on to Unless It Doesn't Happen?
Please.
Perhaps our favorite segment of the week. Coming on a Tuesday. Down goes the Masters. Who wants to start? Go ahead. I've got an onslaught coming your way, so just
I'll
going
go
to let you know.
I'll start us off because this is a game that has flown under the radar because the result of it is presumed already known. Dude, I got you. I don't want you staying in the shower. I didn't want you bending over for it. You gotta just trust me, man.
Oh, fell off again. It's just not meant to be.
It's not staying.
Not meant to be.
But I think that this Florida State game is going to be one-score game.
Got me feeling nussy.
We've all talked about how Florida's found their footing. Florida State kind of found a quarterback, it seems, in that true freshman. He was moving around the pocket well. Now I get it. It was Charleston Southern, but this is such a presumed W for Florida. I'm going to go with Florida State is a one-score game. You heard it here first unless it doesn't happen.
Oh, one-score game.
Real bold.
Honestly, that's pretty bold in this
pretty
one.
freaking bold.
It's bold with Florida State.
Florida
They
fans
suck.
Florida fans would start freaking out a little bit if they only beat Florida State by one score.
Might want to fire Billy.
They just back and forth. Nothing is ever simple during rivalry week. It can't always be as simple as this team is better than that team. And I think if we did kind of just have that consistent analysis throughout this week, that would be doing a disservice to rivalry week of everything that it encapsulates between the history between two teams and what it means to play on the field that you are going on Saturday to go head-to-head against your biggest rival or most people's biggest rival. And so for that reason, I think that you have one team in this football game that understands that is very well aware of what is at stake on Saturday, whereas one team has kind of been pieced together with a lot of great football players that may not truly understand how great this rivalry is and what it means to these two programs. And we said at the beginning of the year, if things unfold, they might just absolutely collapse. Mississippi State, all-timer in the Egg Bowl, give me the dub.
Ooh, that'd be fun to watch.
I got a Mississippi State Bulldog taking a piss in the end zone. Give it to me.
Ooh,
Who else has got an lesson
controversial.
doesn't happen?
Here's one. This is a long shot one.
Long shot.
Quinn Ewers, a little banged up.
Ooh.
Might not play.
Do it to me.
I have Arch Manning has a day against Texas A&M, but the Horns still lose. Texas A&M goes to the SEC championship despite Arch Manning's really good
Boy,
day.
the College Football Playoff Committee would be in a conundrum.
Oh,
honestly,
God.
The backup plays, but goes and plays better than Quinn Ewers, and they lose? What do we do?
I was about to say, this might be best case scenario loss for Texas. Like, hey, we lost, but committee might be
Honestly-
saying, let's get Arch Manning in the playoffs.
Honestly-
That'd be pretty fun.
Bench Quinn this game.
You think so? Just go ahead and bench him.
Rip the Band-Aid off.
Why not? I mean, you have
Pour lemon juice in it.
you have a built-in excuse. One, if you win, it looks that much better because we just beat Texas A&M with our backup. If you lose, you're sitting at 2 losses, and one of our losses, hey, our backup was in on the road. What did you
But your
expect?
backup is Arch Manning, who you've played on purpose at points this year.
You tried throwing him in against Georgia.
Yeah.
Kind of tells you what you think about him.
Hmm.
My next one. It's a shame if your team puts on an absolute stinker against your rivalry, because then you got to carry that stench with you for the next year until you get to play that same
the
team
worst.
again. I mean, it just leaves a bad taste in your mouth. But I'll tell you one man and one team that is not going to be having any stench on them whatsoever this week: the Syracuse Orange, who are going to knock off the Miami Hurricanes. Fran Brown gets a shower. Syracuse gets a big dub.
Don't worry, Miami. I'm still quietly hate watching you. He's mad. I got one last take.
I explained.
It's all good.
Actually, no, I got 2 more for you. Here's one. Notre Dame is riding high coming into this game, looking like they're a playoff team. We know it had the slip up against NIU. They're coming against Ole Miss, coming against Lincoln Riley's USC defense. Doesn't matter. Lincoln Riley is actually going to coach his last game against Notre Dame because he's going to be fired after he gets his shit kicked in.
All right, so we're firing Lincoln Riley.
Lincoln Riley
6
is
months
fired.
after Paul did it.
Paul Feinbaum, you were right, brother.
Are we good on the lesson?
I
Does that
got
happen
one
for you?
more.
Yeah, I actually have one, but I'm going to
All right,
hold off.
please.
I got
I'm gonna
one
hold off.
more.
Come on.
One more, and this is one that I've been building up for months now, and it's the last time I'll be on air prior to this game happening, so I'm going to cement this take now. When it happens, you can come thanking me because I predicted this all the way back in late July when we heard
I
the
know where he's
announcement.
going.
The Georgia Bulldogs will be wearing black on Friday. You heard it here first unless it doesn't happen.
And we ain't even got to caveat that when it's happening. You heard it here first. Breaking news.
Oh, I don't know about breaking news. But
Breaking news. You heard it here first. Georgia's wearing black jerseys on Friday. Run the ads. Run the articles. Run them.
Someone's going to clip
Let's
that.
see what you've been cooking.
Someone's
today.
going to clip that and say, Brooks Austin says they're wearing black.
I need theme music for this one's what I need.
I got
Unless
you.
it doesn't happen. Here we go. I'm kidding. Ohio State, I know what I just said. Ohio State, I know I just said you were going to whip some Michigan ass this weekend inside the shoe. However, I got to cover both bases. Michigan pulls off the upset this weekend, and I'm just getting started, boys. Oh, Tennessee, you think you're in the college football playoff? That's cute. Diego Pavia on your head top this weekend. Vandy rolls. Penn State played with fire last weekend against Minnesota.
Ooh.
They get their asses burned this weekend against Maryland. Notre Dame saw one top 35 Power 4 defense in their final 11 games of the year. Whomsta thunk it? It was going to be USC. Trojans roll. Give it to me. You think you can just stroll into Wireless Dome? You think you can stroll into the Wireless Dome and beat the Cuse? Absolutely not. Think again, Miami. You're going down. Mendoza got smoke. Mendoza's got smoke for you, SMU. SMU, bear down. Give it to me, Cal. Purdue ain't even got within 40 points of a top 10 team all year. They played 3 of them. Number 4 coming in this weekend. Signetti gets smoked. Give it to me. Indiana going down. Georgia fans watching this, you think you're safe. You think you're safe right now, Georgia fans. You watch this like, no way, Brooks is going against me.
Don't do it.
Wasp nest in your face. Give it to me, Georgia Tech. Woo! Unless it doesn't happen, you heard it here first.
Man, I think
Are we going to let him do that?
I think we just need to go to the local hour. We need a moment right now.
As do I.
Oh, my God.
Welcome into Talk the Dog, the show where we find a bone to pick and a take to give. These are not hot takes. These is dog takes. Can I talk that dog?
What's up? You really like that?
Let's shut up and grind some tape.
Hey, welcome back in. It's our local hour. I'm glad you're back in.
You're really gonna talk a Georgia game for an hour after that?
I mean,
Ooh.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Ooh.
I love the chat going, let him cook. Let him cook.
No!
Get him out of the kitchen.
Whoa.
Now.
Who let that man cook?
All right, we got a local hour coming up right now, but first and foremost, we had a bunch of film studies this week, and I got a Diddy counter for you, and it's one of the best we've produced in a couple of weeks. Let's shut up and let's grind. He's going to tear your ass apart. His eyes are right here on his tight end. Flick that ball like that. All right, you're a hole player. Just beat that ass. You two stacked up on each other in the same hole. We got you in A gap, you in backside A gap.
He's listed at 6'3", 197.
Well, he feels 6'5". We have a propensity to put 2 Ds in one hole, but doing what we can to suck that safety up. But these guys win these balls, okay? We talk about D's in a hole, okay? Don't want to put multiple people in one hole. I'm just playing, y'all. I got Georgia winning 34-17. We'll talk about that a little bit later. Shout out to the Diddy counter. What did we get up to this week?
15, 3 shy of the record. But it was only a 40-minute video that I did. So, I mean, if you had another 20 minutes of film study, you'd have probably broken it.
What was your favorite in the Diddyisms this week?
My favorite was he's listed as 6'3". Well, he feels like 6'5".
That's a solid one. That one's a good one. I like a good A gap to B gap.
Yeah.
2 Ds in one hole made an appearance this week.
Absolutely.
Stop putting 2 guys in one hole defensively, and I'll stop talking about it
Some
like
people
that.
prefer that.
Welcome into our local hour. We've got a great one for you. We got final predictions, game ball predictions, Kirby Smart's comments on Colby Young, which we will open with, top 5 Georgia versus Georgia Tech rivalry moments, and film notes as my heart rate starts to come right back down to where it's supposed to be.
Good. Glad to have you back.
Yeah, man. Lost it there for a
God, do you
second.
know how bad it would suck if you had a heart attack on air?
Dude, don't joke about that. That would be awful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
I'd have to. One of us would have to push you off the chair and run the show from your desk then.
All
You're
right.
just assuming it's Brooks.
Who would y'all replace me with?
I have no idea.
Huh. I bet my wife would be thinking the same thing. Shout out to you, honey. Like she's watching. Shout out to BetUS. Appreciate those guys for being premier sponsors of this laugh riot that has happened tonight. Make sure you go over to BetUS today if you're looking for a new book this season. BetUS offers the fastest withdrawal and deposit processes in the industry.
I figured out who I'd replace you with.
Okay. Aaron Murray?
Yeah.
Yeah, not happening. Would haunt you from the grave. You're not going to let Choochless Boy Wonder on this air. No way. No way. He'd have to face me before I died. And then we might allow him back on this network. Shout out to BetUS. Head over to BetUS right now. Use promo code YouTube150 for 150% deposit match up to $2,000 on your first deposit and 125% deposit match on your next 2 deposits over there on BetUS. Is the best place to be. Head over there to BetUS. Use that promo code YouTube150. Yeah, I'd definitely pull a Hugh Freeze. I'd be giving takes from the gurney.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Zoom in.
Yeah, no, you just roll me right in on the gurney, and we'd sit over there and we'd give the takes. They'd be fire.
I like it.
What do we want to start with? We want to go to presser notes. Oh, let's start with Colby Young. Let's start with Colby Young. Kirby was asked, or wasn't even asked, was opening his statements today.
Getting ahead of it.
Yeah, getting ahead of it. Talking about Colby Young. Went on to say that, hey, not going to be able to address this any further than the opening statement, despite the fact that he was continued to be asked questions about it. But said, hey, look, man, Colby is back at practice. Didn't say this verbatim. Colby's back at practice, but his status is unchanged because the charges have not been dropped by the DA. There's been a lot of speculation on when and if that will happen. I don't know. I think this is them preparing for if and when it does happen. And when it does, they will immediately roll him into action.
This very much struck me as, all right, we are fairly confident we're going to get him back. Let's go ahead and get him game ready so that whenever we do, it's not a, hey, 2-week acclimation period where your body has to get used to playing football again. He's been off for, 7 weeks now? 6?
Yes.
That's a long time to be away from football. So they're going to have him ready to go so that as soon as he's reinstated, he's ready to go. He plays on Saturday or whatever day they play next.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a very similar line of thinking that I had as well, of just preparing for what you think might happen.
Chat's saying, and it was just retracted, I guess there is a court date set for this. I think I've heard rumors about early December. I don't know that to be the case. I'm not out here running through court logs in Clark County. So I don't know quite yet about that. But yeah, you would imagine his emergence back on the roster would be great for Georgia in the red zone, particularly. And his ability to win 50-50 balls and the depth part, 100%, which is something that Kirby actually talked about today in the rest of his press conference. Was asked about London Humphreys and his role that seems to have received an uptick as of late, and it makes sense, right? There's a bunch of injuries in front of him. Anthony Evans has been banged up with the stuff going on with Colby Young as well. There's some injuries and some lack of depth at that position. That's why his role has increased. Was asked about both of the Robinsons, Rod and Branson. Rod has apparently received contact and is running with the twos, as has Branson Robinson. Is back in the lineup, at least with the twos, trying to see how they feel. Said seeing where they're at mentally, where they're at with their trust on that ligament. Was also asked about Trevor Etienne. Said he's back to running, hit 21 miles per hour this week. So,
but I mean, he never had a lower body injury, did he? So I mean, GPS speeds weren't really going to drop off.
You got to have some arm action though in that.
I mean, yeah, for sure. But
I don't know.
It doesn't feel like that's probably that's a contact injury.
I don't know. I would imagine breathing hurts.
Yeah.
I would imagine when you crack a rib or fracture a rib or whatever he actually did, because we don't know. We assume it's rib related. Mm-hmm. Whatever he actually did, I would imagine it hurts to breathe hard. Mm-hmm. So maybe he's gotten back to that point without pain. So that's good news for Georgia and their running back depth. How have they handled a short week? Really good. Really good. Been walking around calling today Wednesday. Real higher level thinking going on inside the Georgia building. Good.
I would have asked him. So your Sunday turned into Monday. Mm-hmm. Your Tuesday turned into Wednesday. Monday turned into Tuesday, et cetera, et cetera. What day did you cut out of your schedule?
Probably the Sunday rest day.
Yeah.
I would
Do they
imagine.
not go do the film
No,
review?
Sunday's film review, but Sunday turned into Monday. So Sunday they'll do film review and probably go walk through all of their errors. Right? Monday normally is we fix us. Tuesday we get ready to fight the war that's upcoming. Normally.
Bloody
Sunday,
Tuesday.
Sunday we watch the film. Monday we address all the issues that we found on the film, correct ourselves. Tuesday we get to work for the opponent. So now I would imagine, like I said, that Sunday workload probably looked like a combination of Monday and Sunday put together. That's at least how we did it on short weeks. Played a bunch of them in Division II football when you get that Thursday night football game on ESPNU. Let's get some super chubs right quick before we finish out the rest of these Kirby Smart presser notes. Can't believe the committee disrespected the
shit.
troops and Kirby. What?
North Carolina fired Mac Brown.
Were you under a rock today? Were you under a rock today? Oh, you're being facetious. Okay.
You see Brenton Cox transfer to Florida?
Yeah, Brenton Cox did transfer to Florida. Did you know that Jake Fromm played in the Little League World Series?
I actually
No.
didn't know that.
Yeah.
I would like to see some clips of that before a football game as he walks onto the field.
A birdie told me that Matt Stafford and Clayton Kershaw were teammates.
Whoa.
That's a mind.
That's
blow.
insane.
Yep.
He got so mad at me.
Can't believe the committee disrespected the troops and Kirby is letting them do it.
Dude, I put up the best fight I could. I was the only one repping the troops the entire time. Like,
JB says, time to unsub. This dude is a Georgia Tech homer. Hunter Lacey says, what's your opinion on Etienne's ETA? I think we kind of hit on that. Normally the progression is back at practice running, get to see him dress, 2 weeks wait time, plays the next game. Normally, right?
Yeah.
In my history, that's what it says. All right, let's continue on with these notes. Was asked about Glenn Schuman, and you'll find out why a little bit later in tonight's show. Always been wise and innovative. He's a really great teacher. Talked about how both of Schuman's parents were educators as well. Said he really enjoys getting in the front of the room and works really, really hard. It's the very first text message I got back from different sources and coaches around the world of college football when Schuman's name got linked to UNC today. The first text I got was, do you think he takes it? And my answer was, I don't know if Glenn Schuman wants to be a head football coach.
Think he does.
The immediate response from the source was, well, if he does, he's going to be great because he works hard. That was the next, because he works hard. So, yeah, we'll see.
We'll talk about that in a sec.
Yeah, we will. We'll talk about that right after we finish up these notes. Was asked about the young tight ends. Colton and Jaden have both grown up. They continue to grow. Was asked about Georgia Tech's offensive line and how they do such a good job of protecting the quarterback. He said it's simple. They run the rock. They've only allowed 5 sacks this year. Reason being they have athletic and mobile quarterbacks, but really they run the football. Like they're a 65% run to pass ratio at this rate. So if you're only throwing the ball on 3.5 out of every 10 snaps, you're probably not going to have a lot of sacks going into the end of the season. But yeah, they do a really good job with protections. And he mentioned moving the pocket, right? It's something we saw with Monken when he was here, and Stetson being the quarterback, really athletic, getting him out of the pocket and rolling, what we call manipulating the launch point on this network. Buster's done a great job and has the facilities to do so, right? Has the quarterbacks that thrive off of being outside of the pocket. Whereas if he were at Georgia right now, I would imagine he's, creating an offense that thrives off a quarterback that destroys people from within the pocket like Carson Beck. Not a sack game, it's a strap it on game. That's what he said.
Hey, yeah.
Not a sack game, it's a strap it on game.
That's a ditty.
Strap that lid on, let's go. Lead with the screws, baby, for 4 quarters. Let's get after it. Tech was asked about believing that they can win, right? What's it like coaching against a football team that finally feels as if they believe they can win? You know what Kirby's response was? It ain't about them. It ain't about what they think. It ain't about what they care about. It ain't about how they feel. It is about us. It is about going out, striking, and defeating blocks. It's about going out, setting the motherfucking tone. That's what it's about. Talk to him. Ernest Green. Don't know.
Really promising stuff.
Working at both left and right, though, now.
Okay.
So back at practice. Don't know if they're going to be able to go. Krista Miller.
Don't know.
Not much. Banged up.
Probably won't play.
I'm going to put out a nug on Patreon. I already gave it to Discord prior to tonight's show. I'm going to put it out on Patreon. Patreon.com/Brooks Austin. I got some actual injury intel for you guys. Dylan Bell did some walkthroughs.
Sick.
Taking some reps.
We'll know more.
Kirby doesn't watch the college football playoff rankings. Got too much work to do.
Does not surprise me.
Yep. What does the 24 hours before the game look like? Thanksgiving Day is a Friday for us because it's a Thursday.
Yeah.
So they're going to eat Thanksgiving meal together as a family and as a team, and then they'll go to their hotel room, and it'll be a normal day. The best part about today's press conference, yes, Kirby did indeed have a limp leaving the press conference, but one of the media members said, "Happy Thanksgiving," and he turned around and said, "It will be a good Thanksgiving because I won't have to see you guys."
Oh, Kirby, you're just messing with us, man.
Right?
Did he say it with a smile on his face?
I don't know. He was walking out of the room. But no, I don't think he had a smile on his face. I think he was very serious. I think he was very real about that one.
He's just messy. He loves that.
You know, I think he was upset because there was only like 5 or 6 media members in the press hall today.
Really?
It was very thin. Very thin. Didn't see some of the traditionals, if you know what I mean.
You've been
Taking Tuesdays off, man.
You've been influencing some people in the room.
Yeah,
Kirby?
what's the deal over there, man?
I'm
You
rubbing off on
getting in people's ears saying,
What'd you
"Hey,
do?
it's
Say
okay to be lazy"?
I'm too lazy to find out what
You
the
just
other
tell him, you already go on Mondays. Why should you go on Tuesdays?
Amen.
I don't go to those damn press conferences.
Let's get into the actual preview of this football game, boys. What are your keys to the win? And I'll give you an opportunity to write these down because I think I surprised you a little bit, not putting this one in the show notes. Keys to the win, number 1, line in the dirt. I need camera 1. I had a high school football coach, Kenny Dallas, used to talk about getting into fistfights with folks. And what you do, you put a line. You put a line right there in the sand, and you put that foot on that line, and you get them hands ready, and you get ready to rock, all right? Put a line in the sand, all right? And you let them know, you cross this line, I'm going to punch your ass right in the mouth, all right? That's what's got to happen on Saturday. You cannot come out in this football game and not be ready to toe the line, all right? You got to put it on and get ready to strike for this football game. BU on offense. I don't think they're extremely talented or really, really great on the defensive side of the football. I would argue that they are opportunistic, okay? They're opportunistic on the defensive side of the football. So just be you, man. Go out, do what you do, execute, and I do believe 30, 35 points are on the board for you guys by the end of the day. And the final key to the win for me, okay, the final key to the win, make that freshman quarterback beat you. Make him beat you. And it goes hand in hand with key number 1, right? Line in the dirt. Get ready to fist fight these dudes for 4 quarters at the line of scrimmage. But once you do that successfully, you're going to put this game at the feet of this quarterback, okay, in Aaron Philo. And we saw it on film. He's making great throws. He's really talented. He's making big plays. He's also putting the ball at risk several times during the football game, and I think you get after him.
I like it. I've got 3 for you. So the first one I have. Take advantage of the opportunities that are going to be provided from you from their mistakes. Whether it's jumping off sides, you get a free play. Whether it's they have a false start and it's 2nd and 15, now you got to cash in on that. Whether it's them getting turnovers, take advantage of those and turn those into points, turn them into explosives, turn them into whatever the opportunity presents itself. That's kind of a baseline thing, but in this type of environment with a freshman quarterback and a defense that's going to be kind of amped up and keen on trying to stop you, take advantage of the mistakes that you give because we've already seen this team is going to be emotional coming in. They hate you. They want to win. They want nothing more than to spoil your season, ruin your playoff hopes. They're going to be emotional. Take advantage of that. They're going to provide opportunities for you to do so. Do that, and I think you'll win. Second, kill the hope early. If you let this team hang around at halftime, if it's a 1-score game, get them believing, hey, we're beating them at home. We're doing everything that they don't want none of this. The longer this game goes on, the closer it is. I think that you're going to have more and more problems. If you jump out to a 2-score or 3-score lead in the first half, they're going to probably roll over. I do not see a Tech team like this coming back and fighting in that type of environment with that type of deficit. So kill the hope and kill it early. And then the third one is remain clean on offense. You had a clean performance against Tennessee. You had a clean one against UMass. This is what we think, the best version of the Georgia football offense looks like in 2024. Keep that momentum going. Keep doing that. Don't have errant throws. Don't have busts from the wide receiver positions. Remain calm or keep Carson Beck clean in the pocket. All of the above. Run the ball well. Don't have anyone get hurt. Just remain clean on offense. That's all you have to do. You don't have to do anything spectacular. You don't have to have any otherworldly play for anyone. You don't need anyone on offense to play their best game of their careers to win this game. Just remain clean.
I started mine with stop the run. And that kind of plays into you saying make Aaron Philo beat you.
Toe the line, baby.
Yeah, exactly.
Toe that line.
So dominate the run game, but on both sides of the ball as well. I would say I think that you need to establish your run. Goodness. Your run game as well.
Hell yeah.
Offensively.
Hell yeah.
I'm on the downhill slope, all right? I'm recovering.
You're on the back side of the mountain.
Yeah, just kind of getting everything out of the way.
Just giving it to Kirby now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did.
It went from
I warned him.
It went from yours truly, sounding like he smokes a pack of cigs a day, to you coughing up a lung on the air, to now you settling in on this sickness.
I think I'm on the back half of it.
Okay.
I was feeling rough last
quick
week.
recovery. Good for you.
The cycles are lining up.
But yeah, dominate the run game on both offense and defense. I think that you can kind of take advantage of Georgia Tech's defense in the run game, especially someone like Nate Frazier, who is shifty, who can make people miss. I think he might have some opportunities for some big plays. You guys kind of hit on this, but I put it in this phrase: take advantage of the young football player moments that Georgia Tech is going to see from their quarterback, where if there's an interceptable ball on Saturday, go make sure you pick that off and make them pay for their mistakes. Don't let them just kind of get away with moments time and time again on Saturday. Really make them pay for those and take advantage of them. Then number 3, set the tone. Set the tone up front offensively with the offensive line. Defense needs to do it in the run game, playing physical, and then also the crowd. Sanford Stadium, you got to set the tone as well.
Got to get lit.
Absolutely.
All right, I got film notes and a prediction. You want them?
Yes.
Bring them all.
I do want
Let's
these.
get it. If they go empty formation on Friday night, Jonathan, what are they doing?
QB run.
They are running the quarterback. I'm going to tell you that right now. I think I saw one play out of empty in which they didn't run the quarterback. It was a play-action deep shot off of a jet sweep motion. All modern option teams, you've got to stop the run. We've talked about that, obviously. But you have to do so without dedicating not extra bodies, but extra eyes to the box. We've talked about this with other football programs like Texas, for example. You start dedicating extra bodies to the box, you're leaving yourself vulnerable to one-on-one shots in the deep end. Same thing with Tennessee in weeks past. This is different in the sense that it's eye discipline, okay? Because their RPO game off of these options is elite, man. They move chains with little tight end arrow screens, little slants, little hitches, okay? So we cannot, particularly the nickel defender, whoever's the apex defender in this football game, cannot have his eyes tied to the box. Historically, Georgia doesn't allow that to happen. They let the box defenders handle the run. Everybody outside of it handles their business. You got to have great eye discipline out there. RPOs are ad nauseum in this football game from this offense. They have weapons that can win on the outside, particularly, I think it's Nick Singleton. He was a freshman last year, had, I think, 800 yards as a true freshman. I was stunned that they were able to hold on to this guy. I thought other Power 4 conferences or competition was going to have a much bigger salary to go after this guy. They end up holding on to him. He's a big play waiting to happen. I don't think it's a matter of if he gets on top of Georgia's defense Saturday. It's a matter of when, and I think you have to limit those to maybe 1 or 2. If he's got 3 or 4 of those, you're going to be in an absolute dogfight for 4 quarters because it's a flipping of the field that's the problem here. I also do really worry about Buster Faulkner's ability to dial it up, particularly in the green zone. It's what we talked about on film study. You get that guy 45 yards and in, he's got a winner for your ass. He's going to get to it. He designed it on Tuesday, and he's waiting for the opportunity to hit it. The thing is, you just can't allow him multiple possessions in there because he is going to have winners. I promise you that right now. It's a matter of not letting him get into those areas multiple times over and in favorable situations to start taking shots on you. But here's the real. All right, when I watched that film today, here's my real final analysis point that I came down to. Georgia will not, and historically has not allowed you to hide an offensive line for 4 quarters. It's just impossible. And I'm not saying Georgia Tech doesn't have a good offensive line. They don't have a great offensive line. They do a lot of stuff schematically to hide that. You're not going to be able to do that for 4 quarters against Georgia. Eventually, the havoc plays will be created by that Georgia defense. I do expect Tech to have some success, but eventually the players in this football game will ultimately take over. I expect this game to feel very similar to the way that it did last year. It's going to feel like a close one till it isn't. Give me Georgia, 34-17.
I like it. You don't think the offense can score more points than that?
Georgia's offense?
Yeah.
I think when Tech creates possessions, they hold the ball.
So it's going to be a sit-on-it type game for them.
I mean, for them, the whole game plan is to shorten the game.
Yeah.
Get positive possessions and hold on to the ball. We want Georgia offense that averages 12 to 13 possessions a game. I don't know if those are real numbers. 12 to 13 possessions a game. We want to give them 7 today. That's what we want to do. And if they score 35 on those 7 possessions, we got to score 36 on our 7.
Yeah, I have a very similar prediction as well. I have Georgia winning 38-17. I think it's gonna offensively. I think this is gonna feel very similar to the way it has the past couple of weeks. I think offensively, the game is gonna come very easy to Carson Beck in the offense. I think they're gonna have no issues moving the football. I think they're gonna score. I think they're gonna answer Georgia Tech's answers. I think they're gonna have a good day. I think Georgia Tech might find their way into a couple big plays. It's going to put them into scoring position. And I think that Buster Faulkner is good enough, and the offense as a whole is good enough for them to find themselves in the end zone a couple times, hence the 17 points from them. But ultimately, I think that this game is going to feel like Georgia dominated for 4 quarters.
Georgia Tech is not a team that does well at playing from behind. It's either we're dragging you into deep waters and we're going to come out on the end victorious, or you're going to get up on us and it's just me, well, we tried. I very much think that Georgia is going to come out explosive in this game. They're going to come out swinging. They're going to come out energized. The crowd's going to be really, really hostile for Georgia Tech. You're probably going to have a couple 3-and-outs, quick touchdowns for Georgia, quick 3-and-outs possessions for Tech. I see Georgia getting up 3 scores very quickly in this game and just coasting. I went Georgia 45-13.
Yeah, you're really optimistic. Yeah, I mean, I could see it going that way. I don't think Tech's offense allows you to score that many points. How many
Tech's
teams?
offense doesn't allow you to score that many points. We just talked about it. They have a freshman quarterback. They're going to get turnovers.
Okay.
You're going to have a short field or 2 on this game that you're going to take advantage of. This is more me banking on them being able to create enough havoc to provide their offense with points. That's where I think you're getting the 45.
And one thing we did learn from doing film study this morning is that their road splits, home road splits, particularly in the running game, are drastic. They're noticeable. You can tell when they're on the road just looking at the box scores.
I mean, they're 5-0 at home, and they're a 7-4 team right now, correct? Mm-hmm. So I mean, they've won 2 games away from Bobby Dodd right now.
And one of them was in Ireland.
Not a single team has scored 40 or more points against Georgia Tech this year.
Yeah. So, and it has nothing to, it has a little bit to do with their defense. They've gotten better, but it has everything to do with time of possession, holding the football, limiting possessions for the opponent. You're not going to score 40 points if you only get 8 possessions. Yeah. You're just not. So yeah, I think that has a lot to do with what they got going on over there. Game ball predictions, or do you want to go top 5 moments first? What do you want to do?
Top 5 moments.
All right, top 5 moments in the Georgia versus Georgia Tech rivalry. Boys, we will open up the floor to you guys.
Do you want it, Jay, or you want me to go?
I'll go first.
All right.
Come out.
Number 1 for me, the Reggie Ball game in 2004. I mean, Reggie Ball's career in general against Georgia Tech or against Georgia, not very good. Threw a lot of interceptions against Georgia, but specifically the 2004 game, 4th and 21, under a minute to go in the football game, throws it out of bounds. I mean, come on. That is an unforgettable moment in this rivalry.
Spoiler alert, it was my number 1.
Yeah, that's a solid one. It's one that everybody can remember. Number 2, the 2009 game, Georgia rushes for 339 yards, upsets number 9 Georgia Tech. Joe Cox and the boys got it done that weekend.
They Caleb King and Washawn Dealey that ass to oblivion.
They literally did. I mean, it was just give them the rock.
They rushed for almost 40
I was
yards.
alive when Georgia Tech was a top 10 ranked team.
Yeah.
You don't.
They were number 7. This is when they had Demarius Thomas, I believe.
Crazy work.
Well, there was also a year where they played Georgia or Texas A&M in a bowl game as well. They were pretty highly ranked one year, I believe.
Yeah, Georgia Tech in the early 2010s was pretty solid, honestly.
I know, I was just doing a thing.
Late 2000s.
No, but it's easy to forget too, I think. Number 3, Jake Fromm goes for 4 touchdowns in 2019. A really weird combination of people that he threw touchdowns to. One was Tyler Simmons, one was Charlie Warner. Just an interesting group of guys, and I think that's kind of fitting, though. I mean, 4 touchdowns, though, from a quarterback against one of your bigger rivals. That's always a solid day. Number 4, the Roquan Smith game, 2017. He didn't play a whole lot in this game.
Talk to him, Red.
But Roquan Smith shut down that offense by himself for a whole half, and it was literally
the Butkus Award.
Number 3. I'm going wherever the ball is. I'm going to stop it at the line of scrimmage. I mean, it was just a beauty to watch. And I enjoyed going back and watching that with you earlier in the year as well. This was one of the off-season things that we did. That was really enjoyable. Number 5, this did not happen in a game, but Jordan Yates, who played quarterback for Georgia Tech in 2021, following that season, got on video and talked about what it was like playing Georgia's defense that year and described it as, imagine you're playing football with your friends in the street in your family's neighborhood. That's how wide the field feels when you're playing Georgia, because they're so fast and they're so big, the field just feels that tight. So he described it as that, and then he also mentioned Jalen Carter talking smack, saying, you guys are so unprepared. And he said it was very interesting, didn't know how to respond to that, but Jalen was like, y'all have no idea what's going on. You're just so unprepared.
Shout out Geoff.
What a crazy trash talk for someone. Just say you're not prepared for this game.
Yeah, you guys are not prepared.
How do you respond to that?
I don't know, because I would imagine Jalen Carter's normal shit talking isn't that straightforward.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not that, like, he wasn't even shit talking. He was just being honest with the guy. Y'all aren't prepared. Normally, it's probably a little bit what we saw from the who is that? The Seattle Seahawks offensive lineman that said Jalen Carter said he was gonna do some things.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably the normal shit talking. But when you show up with Geoff Collins on the sideline, completely unprepared, Jalen Carter's going to tell you that. That's some stone cold shit talk right there.
For sure.
What do you got for me, Kirby?
Roquan Smith game was my number 5 as well. That was one of the first times where I really watched a player and just dominate on the defensive side of the ball. Like, he was literally everywhere in that game. An incredible performance from him.
First time I remember was Jarvis Jones, Florida, Georgia.
That was another great.
That
Actually,
dude
that
won
might be
that football game.
That might be the first one I had. Yeah.
My bad. Sorry to cut you
No,
off.
you're good. I mean, it was a good point. Number 4 I have is the offensive explosion you had in the first half of 2018. People kind of forget this game. You jumped out to a 38-point lead in the first half of that game. Like, they scored on every possession they had. So, I mean, I
found out we were pregnant with Carter that night.
nice.
Dude, your whole life just aligns with Georgia football
Dude,
moments.
he's remembering life events by Georgia.
That just
football
means
games,
you're in the
man.
right spot. You're doing what you're supposed to.
Bitch, I'm a dog?
Might be.
Question mark?
You did just predict him to lose like 30 minutes ago.
I did. That's on me. Hey, unless it doesn't happen.
But no, that was a really fun game to go to. The number 3 for me is the Matt Stafford 2006 comeback. Georgia was down 12-7 in this game, I believe, driving. This was actually like my first real like conscious memory of listening to Larry Munson on the radio. We didn't watch this game. We were in the car listening to it. And that's when I first understood, like, oh, this is why everyone talks about Larry Munson and loves him. You got a shit-eating grin on your face like you're about to do it.
No, I'm not gonna do it.
All right, but
I think it's gotten better. I gotta workshop it a little bit.
workshop it. Yeah.
That's one of those ones you can't try cold.
No.
You can't. That's a 2-stroke. You can't kickstart that one. You gotta shake the oil a little bit.
Exactly. But yeah, that's my number 3. Number 2, the Alec Ogletree. He's doing it. The Alec Ogletree body slam in the 2012 game is one of my favorite plays by a Georgia defensive player. Do you remember this play, Jay Will?
Which one?
Alec Ogletree body slam.
Oh,
in the
yeah. Of
2012
course
yeah.
I remember that.
That
play.
was one of my favorite plays from a Georgia defensive player I've ever seen. Just absolutely picks up a guy, drops him on his head. Insane. And then number 1 is the 2013 comeback. An underrated Georgia football game. Georgia had just lost Aaron Murray. Hudson Mason was your starting quarterback. Tech jumps out to a 20-0 lead in Bobby Dodd. You come crawling back behind Todd Gurley, win in double overtime, I believe. So really underrated game, really fun game to be a part of. And yeah, I mean, going to double overtime against Georgia Tech isn't great, but that was such a fun comeback to be a part of.
All right, I got my 5. You ready?
Let's hear it.
Number 5. Oh, actually, I got to know a lie.
Not even surprised.
Amarius Mims killed a guy last year. I don't know if y'all know this.
Oh,
yes.
yes.
He murdered a human in this football game. Don't know if that guy still plays ball. I probably wouldn't.
Maybe he plays
Number 5, the Reggie Ball play. 4th and 21. Just go and throw the bitch out of bounds. We love you for it. Number 4, Charlie Warner's solo career touchdown came against Georgia Tech. Had one. Guy's going to play in the league for 10 years.
That dude hates Tech.
That dude hates Tech. Give me that, number 4. Number 3, the Brock Bowers touchdown. The tight end angle that he split 2 safeties on as a true freshman. I know that was game 10, 11, 12 in that point in the season, but that was like, oh my God, we might be watching the best ever.
I've thought the entire season leading to be like, hey, Brock Bowers.
This guy's pretty good.
Really, really good tight end. He's a good weapon. When that happened, I was like, oh, this guy's on another
This guy's
level.
different.
Yeah.
He's physically different than anything else I've seen at this position. Number 2, the George Pickens fight. Give me that one. And then number 1, my boy, friend of the show, probably not, my boy Geoff Collins lifting weights in pregame only to get that ass smacked by Georgia.
Yeah, that was a bad look.
In the schmedium with the Waffle House cup. Y'all remember him trying to brand himself a Waffle House, always carrying around
He
Waffle
was trying
House
to
cup?
go full ATL.
I will say this, as a man who finds his arms to be one of the lone things that he likes on his body, I can understand having your tailor, once you get one that's, you're rich enough to have one, to walk into your tailor's office and be like, hey, all those extra large shirts, go and hem the sleeves a little bit. I'm trying to look swole because I'm old Geoff.
Yeah.
One of the crazier things I've seen before a game.
And I am a fan of, joggers and tight pants and not having to worry, but his pants, a little bit too tight. I think I'm going to reach that threshold at about 35 where I'm like, all right, loose pants back in. Probably can't be out here wearing
It's already
tight
coming.
pants. Yeah.
The ski pants.
I've seen this. This is goofy.
Yeah.
Yeah, the whole wearing hammer pants again, like that's goofy to me.
I'm low key wearing a pair right now.
Oh, I saw a pre-show and I was about to say, hey, do you and Carson Beck have the same tailor? Is what I was about to ask. But I know that ain't Balenciaga. That's probably starter brand.
This is Nike.
Hell yeah. We got to get you in some joggers, fam.
I have joggers.
Okay.
I like to expand my horizons, dude.
Should we talk about this Glenn Schuman news, I guess we want to call this?
Yeah.
All right. Pete Thamel did it today. He was on ESPN, asked about Mac Brown. News, Mac Brown fired today after saying that he wanted to come back, fired by North Carolina, which has prompted a bunch of people to come up in discussions for a potential job opening. Now, this is what's crazy, and I tweeted about this today. It's almost Thanksgiving. I mean, it's Thanksgiving week, and the biggest job open right now is North Carolina.
Yeah.
It seems that way.
That's crazy. Now, the other thing about this is we don't have very many candidates up for this job. It's like Jamie Chadwell or Chadwell? Mm-hmm. Jamie Chadwell, the other Monken from Army, who I don't know if's ever leaving Army.
Nah. Kenny Dillingham?
Not leaving Arizona State for North Carolina. And then we get into the Fired Football Coaches of America Association. We start talking about Dan Mullen. We start talking about some other names. And then Glenn Schuman's name pops up, which was to be expected at this point.
And I think that there gets to a point where no matter what job opens up in the Power Four, that one of these guys' names is going to be linked to it, and Glenn Schuman is just that name right now. A job opens up like, oh, Glenn Schuman is a name to keep an eye on this one. I mean, Glenn Schuman's name was being linked to the Alabama job. I don't know that anybody fully believed that was ever going to happen, but his name was being floated out there because when you think of the top assistant coaches in college football right now, Glenn Schuman is a name that you think of.
We kind of kicked this one around pre-show, Kirby. I don't know where I was going to go. That hasn't happened to me in like 3 years on this network.
You'll find it.
No, I won't.
You'll get it, dude.
Keep talking.
Basically, what I was going to say is that this always happens, I feel like.
I know what I was going to ask you.
There it is.
We kicked this around pre-show and tried to figure it out. This is the first head coaching job that he's been if he is seriously interviewed for. This will be the first one. He wasn't seriously interviewed for Alabama. He was mentioned as a former alum, but they were big time headhunting for that Alabama job. This is going to be the first time that they've really actually hunted this guy for a head coaching position.
Yeah, and I mean, it's interesting to think about, but it's also really not because you think about Glenn Schuman, for as relevant a name as he has been in the Georgia Bulldog space, nationally hasn't really been there. He was a co-DC in 22 after Dan Lanning left. 23 obviously kind of took over roles. He's always been the co-DC role, kind of flirted around the Philadelphia Eagles maybe, but he hasn't been like a hot commodity. And I feel like you always get these kind of Georgia coordinators just thrown into these mixes of, hey, there's a head coaching search. Let's go to one of the best teams in the nation that always consistently has good coordinators and link their name to it. I question the validity that Glenn Schuman is seriously considering the North Carolina job.
I will say this, if we find out he actually took an interview or goes and takes an interview, we know the answer to the question that we've had.
That's
for
what
a
I was
long
going to
time.
say.
Right? We've asked on this network, does this guy actually want to be a head football coach? Because we have reasons to believe that he doesn't, right? We don't know if he wants to be the face of a program. We don't know if he wants to do the CEO stuff that's required to be a head football coach nowadays. I don't see a world where Glenn Schuman is schmoozing boosters for NIL money. I could be wrong. I could be 100% wrong. I think this guy loves coaching and teaching football. I don't know if he wants to deal with all the other stuff, but you pay me an extra $4 million a year, I might mess around and find out.
Well, I mean, it could also be that this is a leverage play. This is I'm going to go take these interviews and just hear them out because, one, when contract negotiations come up for me, I'll be able to say, hey, I'm getting these options elsewhere. If he consistently says, no, I don't want the head coaching job, no, I don't want this, one, you're probably not going to get many interviews in years to come when they come calling.
You know how much money Glenn Schuman makes?
A lot.
A good bit.
Glenn Schuman makes $2 million a year right now, being a defensive coordinator.
He makes a good bit for being a DC. I get that.
I think he'd be a top 10 highest paid DC in the NFL right now at that rate.
For sure, but my point of it.
Give me a Google on that one.
My point of this is you almost have to take this if you're Glenn Schuman.
Why?
Even if you have no interest in it, because one, if you don't, it's basically sets a precedent that, he's not interested, we're not even going to bother. So that maybe one day, maybe Glenn Schuman does have aspirations of being a head coach. Maybe Glenn Schuman wants to be the head coach of Alabama after Kalen DeBoer leaves. Maybe Glenn Schuman wants to be somewhere else in the NFL, maybe with it as a DC position. I don't think that Glenn Schuman goes to North Carolina. I think it's an interview that you have to take, though, to set a precedent that, one, you're willing to take these interviews so that in the future, if you have a change of heart or if you do want to entertain these ideas, they are presented to you.
There are only 4 people in the NFL that make more money than Glenn Schuman right now as a defensive coordinator.
And at $2 million, he's within the top 50 highest paid football coaches in college football.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
there are head football coaches in the Power 4 that aren't making $2 million.
And every year when the salary changes and the bonuses and whatnot are mentioned of like who on Georgia's staff got a raise and whatnot, Glenn Schuman's name is always mentioned.
Mac Brown was making $5 million a year as the head football coach in North Carolina. So, yeah, I mean, $2 million and $5 million, there's a big difference. It's
Sure.
$3 million. It's a lot of money, but I don't know if you want to sign up for this, especially not for North Carolina. Like, how good of a job is North Carolina?
Some people were saying today it's a sleeping giant.
Yeah, no. I wonder who said that.
I mean, it's a good job. It's top 30.
Top 30?
Yeah.
I would take like 14 SEC schools over it. Take like 5 Big Ten schools
you
over
would
it.
take Arkansas over it.
I mean, you're in the SEC footprint.
Yeah, but you also can run a muck on the state of North Carolina, which is honestly underrated for high school talent.
It is. It's become far better
And
over
by
the
the way,
last
you don't have to play the Georgias, the Alabamas, the Floridas, all the brand names of the world that you could be head honcho in the ACC.
Yeah.
It's Clemson right now, and hey, maybe Miami sticks around after this year that they're having.
Should I read these dumb comments by name?
I wouldn't hate it.
I don't think I would either. That's what these people want. They want attention, right? They want to hop in comments and say goofy stuff and hope to never be called out for it. So let's do it. Report, you knew it was coming. Glenn Schuman linked to North Carolina. Let's see here. Hate to say it, but I'm not sure I'm even upset about this. Bring back Muschamp and give his kid a scholarship.
Does Will Muschamp even have kids that are in recruiting process?
Yeah, the son that's at Vanderbilt.
He's at
right
Vanderbilt,
now.
I know
Yeah.
that. But
So bring him back. Give him a scholarship is what they're saying. Seeing how the Dogs D slowly gotten worse since Lanning left, Muschamp isn't co-DC anymore. It might be best for all parties, says JT Marlin.
You mean the Dogs defense has regressed after losing 5 first-round draft picks?
You mean that
combined with 3 more the following year that played in 2021?
The Possum Pecker says, I'm okay with this. Good for you, Possum Pecker. Let's see here. Who else is an idiot? He better go while he can. Defense has fallen off, says Doc Pablo Esco. I think we found out who says these types of things on the internet. Who else is an idiot? Another Kirby roommate hire up next. Love that one. Osama bin Laden off my roster.
Wow. That's where we're going.
Yep, that one comes from LOL at MGLI Chris. An idiot. I'm ready for him to go. Tired of A-gap blitzes that leave slants, halfback angles, and mesh concepts open all game. That's all Ole Miss and Bama ran on us, says Jamie the Giant.
So you mean to tell me
at least
that
he's trying to sound like
when
talking about
when always said from 2021, a little bit in 2022, but really 2021 that Georgia had a generational defense, something that you would probably never see before ever again. You mean to tell me that Georgia's defense has slightly ticked down a little bit from that standard, that they're not as good as they were when they had a generational defense? Oh, and mind you, they're still top 15 in total defense and points allowed. Still top 15.
Having played the hardest schedule in ever.
Yeah.
at Georgia.
Played some of the better offenses in college football this year.
Played 3 top
Wait,
10
didn't
offenses.
Didn't the same defense have a 4-game active streak this year of not allowing a touchdown?
I think they did, Kirby.
Yeah.
Against the top
think they did.
15, against a team that's ranked 12th, right?
And I think they did that in a 3-game stretch of the 4 where Michael Williams wasn't playing.
And I think they absolutely boxed Steve Sarkisian, an offensive mastermind. People would say he might be the best offensive play caller in all of college football. Absolutely boxed him for 4 quarters, dominated him.
Crazy.
Yeah,
is really
get that guy off the
By
staff.
the way, did that in a week in which his wife had a child.
Oh, yeah. And he recruits better than almost anybody in the country.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
You signed 3 5-stars last class.
Yeah.
Should get that guy the hell out of here.
Yeah, that guy can go. We won't lose anything from that.
This is the problem I have with being a Georgia fan because there's so many people that do love this team, but Georgia fans have this weird hive mentality that it always has to be somebody's fault when things aren't going absolutely perfectly. It was Stetson Bennett's fault in 21 and 22. It was Mike Bobo's fault this year. It was Mike Bobo's fault at the start of this year. And now it's all come on Glenn Schuman after Carson Beck and Mike Bobo have found their footing. Like, there has to be somebody at fault that needs to be fired, sent into the sun, put into a rocket and shot into outer space because they're not living up to your standard of football. I mean, they blame cars and girlfriends for reasons of this. And that's the problem that I have with being a Georgia fan that I've dealt with it for 22 years. So
We got a commenter, Ben Green. He's commented this 3 times. Every time your video cuts, it takes like 3 seconds for the camera to refocus. I have watched our streams for years. I haven't seen any of that, so I don't know where that means. I do understand that every time I do this, people hop in the comments and like, Brooks, please stop paying attention to the ignorant fans in the fan base, except for the fact that every single one of those tweets that I read out to you has more than a dozen likes in my mentions. Okay, so it's not just the vocal minority that's out here talking. And I don't know how else. I have 2 ways of gauging 3. I have 3 ways of gauging your interest as an audience. 1, this YouTube chat. What you guys comment about, what you talk about, what you care about. That right there. 2, my social media accounts. That's all I got. It's the only way I can interact with you guys in a mass population opportunity, okay? And then the 3rd one is what you read, all right? And you read about jerseys, but the most of the feedback I get from you is on these comment threads and in those comment threads. So when it's that bad, when the best defensive coordinator that isn't your head coach, when the best defensive coordinator in the college football space is getting shit on in the mentions, I would be remiss to not come out here and call those people stupid.
I would agree.
seems like we've stumbled upon a new segment. Chad is loving this.
They like a Who's the Idiot segment.
I don't feel like I should make a habit out of coming on here and calling people idiots.
Maybe we don't
Chat
call
name.
it Who's an Idiot. But
Yeah. Who's a dum-dum?
yeah, who's a nice dum-dum?
Who needs education?
We got a little bit of time to burn, so I want to talk about this.
We also have a nostalgia tape if you're interested.
Oh, let me get it pulled up.
Nostalgia tape?
Go and talk about what you.
What did you think about Dave Portnoy's comments today?
You know, I saw the video on Twitter and
Because we didn't talk about.
I didn't get a chance to watch it.
I'm forgetting my man's name that runs Oracle.
Doesn't matter. He runs.
No, it does matter. He's one of the richest people alive.
Okay, but
It certainly matters.
His
But
name
anyways,
doesn't matter.
the second richest man alive, his wife graduated from Michigan and is a big Michigan fan. Dave Portnoy got out here, running his mouth about being willing to pay $3 million. And apparently Michigan boosters called Portnoy and they were like, Portnoy, we got this guy you need to talk to. He's a really big deal. He's going to handle our booster stuff. You need to talk to this guy. And Portnoy, in classic Portnoy fashion, was like, no, I'm doing this all by myself. Screw that guy, Larry Ellison is his name. Screw Larry. I don't need no help. So they tell him who it is. It's Larry Ellison. He's like, wait a minute. Oracle, Larry Ellison, the second richest man alive? Yeah, I'll take that phone call. The phone call ends with them basically finding out that the wife is a diehard Michigan fan and she cannot go another day without Michigan being on top of college football after having tasted it last year. So now they're going to throw their money behind everything they possibly can.
Good for Michigan, I guess.
I have some unfortunate news. It is not letting me drag it over to the big screen.
It's not plugged in, I don't think, is it?
It is.
It is connected to the PC.
Well, even if we
showing.
left. instead of dragging it right.
Even if we can't
Drag it the other way. Maybe they flip-flopped on you.
Even if we can't do that, we also have game ball
Yeah,
predictions.
God knows his stuff.
Let me add it to the memory.
That right there is from years of being self-produced. Right there. Obviously, when we flipped the HDMI cords, they got flip-flopped. Yeah, Michigan being out here with a multi-billionaire, going out and buying players. I'm going to clip it. I'm going to go back and find it from 2020 when NIL first got introduced into the landscape of college football as a potential. I had to take back before, I think it was before COVID, where I was out here going, hey, guys, they're going to start letting people be paid. So all you got to do is look for Fortune 500 companies who care about football, and then you're going to find good football programs. Michigan, Larry Ellison's rich as shit. So is the Dell CEO. All right. The company Dell, the computer company. Yeah, that guy graduated from Michigan. If he ever wanted to get involved, he could. Okay. USC's got 500 high net worth individuals. Those are people who are worth more than $45 million. So some of these schools have a disproportionate amount of rich people. If you can just find a couple of them to get into a D measure in competition, you might be able to go get good football players. That's exactly what they just did. All right.
Still doesn't equal.
This is not one we're expecting to catch you off guard with. We'll just go
No,
ahead
this
and
is
say that.
this is a very.
That's George Pickens.
Yeah, exactly.
He does this every time he hits the walk away, like he's not about to watch the film on the screen.
You know what gave it to me?
What's that?
His stance.
No.
Uniforms.
No, he ain't even circled yet, huh?
Uniforms.
Well, no, because a lot of people wear blacks. Bucks. I knew immediately it was Hoover.
Felt like Georgia Tech week. This is a fun clip to watch.
Come over here and click play for me, Jonathan. Just click the main screen. I don't know what's going on with our board today. You're already on it. Just hit play. All right, let's watch some tape. Boy, he was thin in high school, wasn't he?
He wasn't. I watched this. It looked like he never really tried.
Well, that checks out.
That's what I said.
Yeah, man was not into the high levels of effort.
Didn't need to be.
No, definitely didn't need to be. That's in a state title game right there. That's at UAB's field, maybe?
I believe so. That's a Hoover.
Good Lord. There's a play that my buddy John Garcia has from his senior year where he runs through all 11 defensive players. I would have had not problems with this. I would have had struggles as an evaluator because I would have questioned the top end speed, which I still do. I still do at times, but there's no question in the dog. But like right here, I mean, he looks like he's jogging, but when's he start pulling away?
There is I will say from the tight angles, he looks a lot faster.
Does he?
He looks.
We're playing in a big stadium here. That's
He
fair.
looks like he's not trying. That's what it is, honestly.
Now he could be an Ichiro guy, you know, where he's smooth as fast. This was the play. No, this isn't it. He has one against Thompson where he runs through like 9 guys on his way to scoring. That's a little pseudo sail route. I didn't know they were running sail routes back in 2017. This might be the play. See, hurdle somebody here? No. But damn, he was toting Thompson's ass, wasn't he?
Mm-hmm. There's a play where he returns a punt here, and he actually looks like he's moving again.
Oh, God. Oh, God. Oh, God. Oh, Lord. What is the sideline doing? Why is the sideline not getting hyped? What the hell?
Poor guy.
Ooh, wearing neon, too.
There
well, I guess
he
the
is.
whole team
There's
did.
George.
Yeah, there's George.
That's
There's
George.
George.
That's the George we know. I mean, the whole team's wearing neon.
Yeah, I realized that after the other guy ran in. But he must have had 300 against Thompson. A little double move right here, a little slant and go, a little sluggo. Oh, my God. The body awareness and the catch radius on this
Here
guy
This looks like he's moving a good bit.
is phenomenal. I think it's the most natural hands catcher I've ever evaluated outside of close second Ethan Barbour.
Yeah.
Ethan Barbour's, oh my God. Ethan Barbour's got really good hands.
When he actually hits the other gear, he can run, but very
Well, I mean, he ran 4.42 at the combine, didn't he?
yeah, he very rarely looks like he's trying. Like
That was one of my
there,
that was one of my biggest misses on 40 projections. This guy. I thought he was gonna run like 4.55, 4.58, and he ran 4.41. Good God.
Golly, dude. Watching him catch 50-50 balls is so much fun.
And you know what's crazy? Per my sources, still ain't really like applying himself in football.
I mean, we've all heard the Twizzler story.
Yeah.
We just eat Twizzlers all day?
No, he showed up to I think it was the Bengals game like 15 minutes before they played, just munching on Twizzlers. Like, sorry, I'm late.
Yeah, like literally right
Went
before
for
the
a
game
$1.20.
started.
Probably. Yeah, I mean, like, some people just have that talent that they never need to.
Yeah, he's going to make $100 million and then retire. Right?
Yeah. I mean,
This is a guy that plays 10 years in the league and
Yeah.
disappears and posts funny Instagram memes.
People are saying he's the next AB.
I don't like that.
I don't either.
I don't think he's going to go crazy. I just don't think he really, really loves football. I think he's just really
I
good
think he
at
loves
it.
dunking on people.
Yeah, I
Holy
think he
shit.
definitely loves embarrassing people. There's
Oh
no
my
doubt
God.
about that. He would have been a great hooper.
Oh, yeah.
This is hoop swag,
Yeah.
you know?
I mean, he fits that Anthony Edwards mold
Bucket getter.
of. I mean, Anthony Edwards himself says all the time, "I don't like basketball, but I'm really good at it."
Yeah. I don't think he likes football. I think he's just really good at it.
He's like, "I like winning."
Yeah.
It's that type of attitude.
It'd be crazy to see what happened if he did apply.
Bad. Imagine him loving football. Insane.
That'd be insane. As were these numbers on tonight's show. We did a pretty good show for a Tuesday night.
They knew it was the last show, best show.
Love it. I think we're done for the week. I think I'm
believe
going
so.
to, oh, hi, Oompa Loompa Brooksy. I think I'm going to take some time. That's what I think I'm going to do. And then work my ass off Friday during the game.
Hell yeah, dude.
Dang right.
Appreciate you guys for being here. If it was new for you guys tonight, if this was your first live stream, make sure you hit that subscription button right there. Hit that subscribe button and put the show on alerts so you know when we are live. Appreciate you for being here. I love you. Bye.